All right, take two of the inaugural episode of the Poverty Franchise Podcast. I'm Khalil,
And I'm Ethan, and we
and
unfortunately root for poverty franchises, as stated.
yeah, as you can see, Giants fan. Been a Giants fan since about 2016. Became a fan because of Odell, pretty much. That was like my main reason. And then unfortunately, he left like a year later to go to the Browns. And then for basketball, Oklahoma City. That's my team. Unfortunately, we're not that good now. I became an Oklahoma City Thunder fan because of Kevin Durant, and then he left. So I have bad luck with who my teams are.
I've been a Nugget fan since the bubble. Jamal Murray going crazy, dropping buckets, 50, leading the Nuggets back from 3-1.
Do you have a
But
Jamal jersey or a Jokic jersey?
a Jamal one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And I've been a Raider fan since 2014 when they
hmm
drafted Khalil Mack.
hmm
And when they had Crabtree, Cooper, that loaded
Oh,
off.
that big three was
That
wild.
big three was crazy.
Wasn't Derek Carr an MVP?
MVP candidate.
MVP
Yes.
candidate in like 26. That's
Yes.
wild.
It's
Derek
crazy.
Carr. That is crazy. Crazy. But yeah, Poverty Franchise Podcast. It's not a podcast about poverty franchises. It's a podcast hosted by people who root for poverty franchises. I don't want
Oh,
this to be a misconception.
go ahead.
Um, because a dude followed us on TikTok and he was like, I'm finally gonna get my Sacramento Kings news. I'm not talking about the Kings, bro. I'm sorry. Unless the Kings do something great next year, I don't want to talk about the Kings. But this is a podcast hosted by poverty franchise fans. So we have empathy for what it feels like for us people who don't root for the Lakers, or even though the Lakers are terrible. That's not a good example at all,
Teams with a
actually.
rich history.
Yeah, teams with a rich history or teams that are like really good at the moment. We don't
To
have
take
that.
that to a third level, though, I root for the Angels, the team that drafted 20 pitchers in the same draft class.
Yeah, it's not
Obscure,
good for you anywhere. Like, you
wasting
know,
two MVPs, and it's horrible.
at least for you, at least other than the Angels, because the Angels are really bad. And I'm not even a baseball expert, but I know the Angels. I know the Angels. But the Nuggets are in the playoffs. I don't know what the score of that game is right now, but y'all at least had a good
They
season this
start
year,
at
last
7.
year.
Yeah, they start at 7. So in about half
Oh,
an hour.
oh, the game hasn't even started. Cool,
Yeah.
but at least your teams are turning it around. The Raiders were in the playoffs last year, but in a general sense, the Nuggets and the Raiders are like they're nothing
Mm,
special. They're nothing special.
It's
Like
just the Nuggets. Oh, we're playing the Nuggets in the playoffs? Easy.
yeah,
Oh, the
yeah,
Raiders? Ah,
yeah. But on tap for today was the mock draft, or not a mock draft necessarily, but just talking about the top 10 ish prospects. I think it's 12 because you have six, I have six, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, it's top 12 ish.
Top prospects, excluding O-line, because we
Yeah,
don't really know how to analyze that. I don't.
I
I
don't
don't think
either.
Phil does.
I
And
don't.
it's pretty obvious which teams need line.
Right. Like the Giants, the Jets could go line, the Jaguars can go line, the
Every
Texans
team
can
that
go
has a
line.
high pick can go line.
Right. Seahawks.
Literally
Right.
every team.
Yeah. And then of course there's some good teams that need some offensive line, like the Chargers and stuff. But like it's not much to talk about, and I feel like it would just waste time to talk about the same teams over and over and how much they need a right tackle. Like I don't want to talk about that.
Instead
Uh,
of that, we can talk about different skilled edge rushes
right.
who specialize in different things and have different fits.
Right, right. It's definitely a more interesting conversation when it comes to edges and just skill positions in general over O line. That's just me though. I don't really like talking about O line that much. I don't really. I recognize O line and its importance, and I realize that the best players in this class are O line. Like the some of the best players in this class are O line, and
Mhm.
I recognize their talent. I just don't want to talk about blocking because it's the same teams that need them. It's about the same teams that are in need of them. But this is an edge and O line class, which is really interesting because I don't remember us ever having a class that was strictly edge and O line that I can remember off the top of my head.
Like there was a quarterback who was like this shot who's projected to go one or like projected to be super high.
Yeah, there's nothing like that for us this year. I don't think it's just there's some good guys. There's some good guys, no doubt. It's not a bad class. There's some really good guys. There's just not that guy this year. Like there's not that guy this year. But um, all of our rankings are based off of Tankathon, not our rankings, because neither of us watch college football like that. I tune into like the national championships sometimes, like every other year, but I don't watch college
Yeah.
football. It's very rare. Um, but yeah, I think you start because you have Hutchinson, so that's all you, bro.
Okay. So to break him down, he's gonna turn out or coming out of the draft gonna be like a more polished Max Crosby,
Hmm.
a speed rush who has a good bull rush, not a big bag of moves, but he'll be able to get to the quarterback. He has great leverage, good hands, and body control. His leverage comes from his height. He is 6'6",
Ooh,
but with that height, lacks explosiveness.
mm,
His arm length is also an issue. He has like pretty short arms for an edge, especially
hmm,
being that tall. And his pass rush tree, like doing what move when, is one dimensional ish. You
hmm.
could say the same thing for
For
Thibodeau though,
yeah, and then Trayvon
because
Walker just don't even use his hands.
yeah,
He's like,
athlete.
yeah,
But typically, if the team were Hutchinson, I would strictly keep that edge. Like,
hmm,
do not try to drop this guy in coverage. He is horrible.
yeah.
It's a free play on his side, basically.
So pretty much what you're saying is he is an edge. He's not an outside linebacker.
He is an edge, period.
That's fair. That's fair. I think all of the edges in this class are edges. Like there's Kayvon Thibodeau doesn't have
Trayvon,
Trayvon
I think he might be able to do it just because of his speed.
his athleticism. He is athletic enough to do it. He hasn't
Yeah,
shown that skill yet in his tape. However, he does have the skill to do it. He definitely does. What do you have? What do you have Hutchinson? Because I feel like there's really only two teams in the running, but like there's teams that aren't in the running that he would fit with.
he's probably just going to the Jags, Lions.
Jags or Lions,
Yeah,
realistically. Jags just they just like
Jags are the Jags. They need
right.
anything they can get.
Yeah.
They went off all in, well, pretty much all in on offense this year during the
Yeah.
off season, signing Christian Kirk, Zay Jones.
They just one of their tackles just Cam Robinson earlier, he got his 5th year option or his franchise tag or something. Or they restructured his deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Jags have been all offense. That Christian Kirk contract, I don't know about that. However,
Christian.
they did go all in on offense.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they go defense with this first pick.
Right. And then Hutchinson and Josh Allen would be an interesting pairing. That would be a very interesting little duo. And they're both young. Josh Allen isn't that old. He's like, I don't know how old Josh Allen is. I want to say he's somewhere from 24 to 26 max. But like, I might be over guessing because Josh Allen was like 2018 draft class, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
He's been in the league for a minute because he was on the Saxonville Jaguars
Yeah.
team when they went against the Patriots that one year. I think that was his rookie year. Um, but yeah, that's a nice little young duo. And
Don't
then for
sleep on Miles Jack.
Miles Jack is still over there too.
He's
Yeah,
solid.
little trio actually. Um, and then what's it called? Detroit. He went to Michigan, and I think he's actually from like the area. He's a local, I'm pretty sure. So it's like,
It'd be nice for them to get him.
yeah. And then what's it called? Their coach Dan Campbell. They're building a really nice culture out there, and I
They
like
have
that
that
they
young
are.
talent, Amon Ross St. Brown, or in
Yeah,
other words, Among Us.
Among Us St. Brown, bro. He's him. They got guys. They got guys, and their defense is the Lions are interesting because they play really hard. Like last year, there was talks in the beginning of the season about the Lions being the first 0-17 team, and they were competitive. Like
Mhm.
one of the games they lost was literally on the farthest field goal in NFL history. Like let's not forget that the Lions were in a lot of games against good teams. Like they played pretty well last year, and I think that the Lions are going to build on that. Not saying they're going to be a playoff team, but I think the Lions are actually going to be pretty interesting to watch this year, especially since they have 2 and 32 because of the Rams pick. So they could do something really
Yes,
interesting here.
they do.
So there's a lot of ways they could go. Hutchinson is one, and I like that. Who's two? Two
Two
is
is Trayvon Walker.
I have Trayvon. Trayvon is my guy. And Trayvon was rising because I think when we first did this, and like when I started scouting my guys, I think that was like a couple weeks ago. Trayvon Walker was like 4 or 5. And he's
Yeah,
really been going up lately. And I get it. I remember when I saw his profile, I was like, Trayvon Walker is a guy who I'm gonna be really big on going into the draft. And honestly, I really hope my Giants get him. But his strengths, he's really versatile. He can play 5 tech, 4 tech, 3 tech, anywhere you need to play. He has really high potential. He moves well for his size, really fast. He can create leverage. He's powerful towards the point of attack. He's very athletic and he's not sloppily athletic. He knows what to do with his athleticism. His first step is below average. Um, he's fat. His running speed is fast. His acceleration and his burst of speed isn't like that though. His pad level is really high up. He needs to play lower, and then he's very limited flexibility wise, and he struggles to get from move to move. And I remember on the NFL website, they described his ability to get from move to move as lethargic. So that's not good.
that's
Um,
crazy.
if you're getting described as lethargic, when it comes to getting from move to move. But all of those weaknesses can be coached on. The playing high, you can coach that. Flexibility is something you work on when it comes to
Training.
your work, yeah, your training. And getting from move to move is something he'll get over time. You can work on your pass rush moves.
The
Uh,
combine though skyrocketed
Definitely did. His
because
athleticism is wild. His
it lowered Thibodeau from being the number one Thibodeau class early in the year to
mhm.
dropping to like the fourth
There
best
were
class
talks
right here.
earlier this week about Thibodeau not even being top 10. Like it's wild, and it's like top 10 is wild. What's it called? I think it's just like every year there's that guy who has the character concerns off the field where we don't know where the character concerns came from in the first place, but it becomes
Jimmy
an
Gar-
issue with this. Justin Fields last year, I don't know if you remember that, but late in the year, people were like, Justin Fields doesn't like playing football and he's not a hard worker.
I remember that.
Yeah, and his stock dropped by a lot. And and luckily it did because that benefited us because the Bears traded up to get Justin Fields and now we have their pick. So that benefited us. But the this it happens every year. There's always that guy. And Thibodeau just happens to be this year's guy. But as for Trayvon Walker, his best fits, Giants. Giants just need to go pass rush. And whenever I talk about an edge, just assume that the Giants are going to be on that list because edge is just a really high need for us. We were like 22nd in sacks last year. Aziz Ojolari was really good. He had 8 sacks last year. I think he either tied the rookie sack record or broke the rookie sack record for the Giants. Um, we have 2 picks in the top 10. We're sitting at 5 and 7, and then we have another pick at the top of the second, which is pretty much just like a first. And the D line is young. It's going to be Aziz. Say we draft Trayvon Walker, Aziz, Trayvon, Leonard Williams, and then Dexter Lawrence. That's a pretty solid young O line.
To back
Uh,
him up, you guys got James Bradbury,
yeah,
Blake
it'll
Martinez,
like
JD.
get that front seven in order, and then the secondary will figure out itself.
The secondary will fall in
You're right.
easily.
Um, Also, we run our new offensive or defensive coordinator. I forget his name. I was just reading up on him today. Don Martindale. He's from the Ravens. So you know how the Ravens like to play. And I think
Yeah,
Trayvon Walker would thrive in that kind of
they love to stack the box.
stack the box, get to the quarterback, play the run. And Trayvon Walker, I think, would benefit from playing in that kind of um, defense. Other fits, Houston. Houston's just bad.
They
Like
just need
that's
talent.
they just need anyone they can get. Houston is really just bad, honestly. Um, 3 picks in the top 15, or how many picks do they have? They have 2 picks in the
They got
top
two.
15.
Yeah, they got two in
Two
the top
picks.
15.
I don't know why I said three, but they have 2 picks in the top 15. Then they have 3 in the top 40. I think
Three in
because
the
I think
top 40. Yeah.
yeah, 3 in the top 40. So they could go a lot of ways. Trayvon's just solid. I think Trayvon has probably, other than Hutchinson, as far as edges go, I think Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker are probably the most sure thing prospects.
I think Trayvon has the biggest boomer bust potential.
Boomer bust.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he has a little bit of both. His athleticism is over Hutchinson, but it's below Thibodeau. But his usage of his hands is over Thibodeau, but below Hutchinson. It's like
yeah.
Trayvon Walker is in the middle,
He's like that in between.
right? And then the last team I had was the Seahawks. I don't know what the Seahawks like game plan is going into next year because it's like they're rebuilding, but they're not rebuilding. Um, so I think if they're just trying to get solid talent, just get Trayvon. He's solid. He could fit on that defense. It's not very likely anymore because when I made this, Trayvon to the Seahawks wasn't out of this world. But now that he's like what's it called, top four or whatever, it's very unlikely that he goes that far. Um, Ethan probably is dealing with internet issues if I had to guess, but I'm going to continue this on my own. The next person I probably want to talk about, uh, let's go Thibodeau. Let's go Thibodeau because we're talking about edges. Thibodeau is an athletic freak, really athletic. It's like it's crazy. He's really athletic. I'm on Thibodeau now, by the way. I figured
I
you were
remember
dealing
I
with
saw it.
internet issues.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thibodeau though, really solid player. Um, I already was on Thibodeau, didn't I? I talked about his character concerns.
yes.
Okay, yeah. I like Thibodeau. That's why I talked about him a second time. He's that important to me. Um, who's I think you're up because it goes Hutchinson, Trayvon, Kayvon.
Hutchinson, Trayvon, Kayvon.
So then it's you. I think it's
The
Sauce actually.
Sauce.
It's Sauce.
A1 Sauce. This guy's been a lock, as we all know.
You
He
said
has
A1 Sauce?
A1 Sauce.
That
That's
is
his nickname.
that's a crazy
That's
nickname.
his nickname, bro.
That's a crazy nickname right there.
This guy's been locks all year in his senior year. I think it's a senior year.
Hmm.
Don't quote me. But he didn't give up a touchdown. The longest reception he's given up was 23, but that was like even after the catch.
Oh, so the reception itself wasn't 23
The
yards.
reception itself wasn't 23 yards. Like the
Yeah.
total yards gained was just 23, period. This guy is lengthy, which lets him catch up to things,
Mhm.
even if he falls behind. But that's also his down. He's inconsistent in press, and he gets caught up in congestion against overlapping man routes. So crossers, mesh,
Yeah, those
anything.
kinds of concepts.
Yeah, those types of concepts he'll get caught up in.
Hmm.
But his hip level, he tends to like raise his hips a little bit too much, get a little anxious.
Hmm.
But his catch up speed is what lets him be so great. His arm length and his size of being like 6'2" as a corner,
Yeah.
pretty big. And he's extremely agile, which lets him get in those tight spaces.
I was watching some of his highlights earlier. Yeah, he's him. He's him.
He's locks.
He's him. He's definitely him.
Some teams that I could see him going to is Texans, Jags, Commanders, and Seahawks. Assuming Texans take him with their 13th pick, he might fall that way, that
Yeah.
far. But
I don't.
realistically, the Jags
Yeah.
aren't going to take him because they might take edge.
Hmm.
And Commanders and Seahawks, I have them taking him though because Seahawks, I don't know what exactly they're doing,
Right.
but I don't know. They could just use help on that defensive end.
Their defense, it's wild. I was thinking about this earlier, but has it not been like 3 straight years where at the start of the season, where like the Seahawks are on pace to break the most points allowed record? It's like
Yeah.
every year it starts like that. It's wild. Their defense is always so
And then
bad.
they go lockdown for like 5 weeks.
And then it saves them from having that record when they start off
Yeah.
awful. It's wild how that happens every year, and I would not be surprised if it happens this year. Um, I like Sauce. I like Sauce. I honestly think the Giants are another team in that. I'm gonna throw the Giants in there as a biased Giants fan.
Yeah.
I want Sauce.
I can see it.
Don Martindale, our D coordinator, he's from Baltimore. He loves the man press. He loves the blitzing. And I know you said he struggles in press. I think
That's
that can be
coachable though.
that's coachable. That is very coachable. And of course, we're not going to only run press. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of our offense or our defense, but he's going to get looks in zone and like man that's not press. And I think he'll be a good place. The Giants would be a good fit for him just because of the scheme fit.
The
Um,
problems that he has can get coached off.
yeah, A lot of these guys are
Great.
like that though. I don't think there's a
Yeah.
lot of guys who have problems that are just not coachable.
Yeah.
Hutchinson, the athleticism, I don't know how athletic he'll ever be, and then the arm length is something that you can't do anything about.
Yeah.
But other than that, he makes up for it with his skill and his knowledge of the game. I'll give him
Mhm.
that. But with a lot of these prospects this year, they have flaws, but they have to be coached, and it's going to come down to what teams can
Develop their players properly
exactly
and make
exactly
them reach their full potential.
right, and they don't just draft because oh this guy was on the board. It's like what team or if we draft this guy, are we putting him in the best position to reach his maximum potential? Essentially, that's what this draft class is going to be about, and it's going to show a lot about these GMs and these coaches and the way they view team building.
Hmm.
Because I think for the last few years, there's been situations where you draft guys
You just hope
based
for the
off
best.
right based off of their talent, not necessarily because they fit and not even fit. Not even it's more so you're drafting them because they're good, and it doesn't matter if you have the pieces in place to make them play good in the NFL.
You
Prime
hope they
example,
have that talent transfer into the NFL from
without giving them the help.
yeah.
Prime example, Justin Fields last year. I like Justin Fields a lot. I thought honestly, and here's the thing with the character concerns thing, again, like I said with Kayvon, and we were talking about earlier with the character concerns lowering people's stock. I thought Justin Fields was the second best quarterback in the class. I thought it went Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, then
Hmm.
Mac Jones, and then Trey Lance. Strictly because I like Trey Lance's athleticism. I just think he was a project, and they handled him well in San Francisco. He came off he was on the sidelines, but Justin Fields is a great quarterback prospect. He was great at Ohio State, but the Bears drafted him and had no O line, so he was just getting beat up. And now it makes it look like Justin Fields is a bad quarterback when the Bears are a bad, not a bad, but like they didn't handle him correctly because they didn't put him in a position to succeed. That's my thing. Another example, as
The
a
depth.
Giants fan, Saquon Barkley is a very talented running back who we drafted and did not put in a position to succeed. And now it looks like Saquon Barkley isn't one of the best running backs in the league. When it comes up to just talent, Saquon Barkley is a really great running back. His ability to catch the ball is there. He's his athleticism is insane. His ability to cut up the field is insane. His vision is also very, very, very good. When you draft players, you just have to put them in a position to succeed. And I think this year, teams are going to really have to do that because there's going to be situations, and I know what's going to happen because it happens every year. Someone's going to draft someone that doesn't fit for their team, and it's going to be a terrible bust. It's going to be a terrible bust. There's going to be one this year. Not that I'm rooting against these teams, but even with Saquon, you can't call Saquon a bust because he had a really good year. His talent saved him for a year at least. Then, of course, there's been injuries, but for the most part, his talent has saved him. This year, I don't think there's any guy with the pure talent of a Saquon Barkley, a Chase Young, who's another
There is
really
no next superstar.
right.
They need to get developed
They
into
need
that
to be
form.
developed. That's the thing, and I think not to harp on this development thing, but I think that's gonna be really important. Um, But yeah, I like the fits for Sauce. I like the fits for Sauce. I think he's gonna be really good in the NFL.
You got next for Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU.
Okay, so we're going back with another corner. Uh
I think
I
he was
honestly
injured last year as well.
he was injured last year. That's one of his not necessarily weaknesses, but things you keep in
You keep
mind.
in, yeah.
Right. But I'll start off with that since we brought up the being injured thing. 10 games played in the last two seasons. It's not
Mhm.
promising. He hasn't played a lot. Another one of his weaknesses, he's not a great tackler. And then his competitiveness is inconsistent on on press and things like that. Again, the tackling can be coached. The competitiveness, I don't know if you can coach that really. I mean,
I
I
think you
guess
can
in a way you can coach it, but it's up to him to really
try,
to buy in.
put forth
Um,
the effort.
right. The 10 games played thing, I get it. It's a very big concern, but his tape is solid. His athleticism is there. His tape is really solid. And I think the conversation between Stingley and Sauce is a lot closer than it is than people make it seem to be. Sauce is a great prospect, and he has the tape, and it's been consistent. He's been consistent for a few years now.
Yeah,
Stingley was like that because I think Stingley was on the same team as that Joe Burrow team.
he was on the same team as that Joe Burrow team.
And he
So
was.
I'm gonna cut you off.
Go
I
ahead.
saw
Go
a
ahead.
clip of Derek Stingley going against Jamar Chase.
Hmm.
Jamar Chase locked him. No, not Jamar. Derek Stingley locked him up,
Right.
and we all know Jamar Chase.
He's
Uno.
like that. Jamar
He's
Chase was getting
crazy.
past Jalen Ramsey in the Super Bowl. Like Jamar Chase can get open. So for Derek Stingley, not to say that Jamar Chase is the best receiver he's going to see in the NFL, because there's other guys. He's going to see his DeAndre Hopkins, his Cooper Cubs. But let's be real, not a lot of corners can stop those guys. So if there's a guy out there who's shown he can guard guys like Jamar Chase, even if it was just in practice and it wasn't 100% reps, but like that's someone I'm interested in. His athleticism, 4.37 40 time, 38.5-inch vertical at his pro day. This guy is an athlete. He's
Crazy.
he's 6'2",
Yeah, he's 6'2".
and he's a little bigger, like weight wise. I
Hmm.
think he's when I checked NFL, I think he was 205.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but that might be a stretch. I think he was 205 on NFL, but then I saw somewhere else that he was 185. So just
Hmm.
somewhere in that range. He's bigger though. Uh, so one of his strengths, of course, is his good size. He can recover when he's beaten. Maybe not like Sauce, but he can recover. He has the physical tools for press. His hands allow for dominance and 50-50 balls. He can get the ball, and then he has good route anticipation. Fits is actually interesting because I think there's a perfect fit for Stingley,
Hmm.
and it's the Vikings. The Vikings would just
True.
work out perfect because he doesn't have to start immediately, and he doesn't have the game what's the word, the not experience, but he doesn't have enough reps snaps. He
Mhm.
doesn't have enough snaps played. He can sit behind a corner. In this corner is Patrick Peterson, who went to LSU. He's the same height, like the same build, and I think I might be stretching this. Patrick Peterson's 40 time coming out of the combine and Derek Stingley's 40 time at his pro day is extremely similar. So to have him get mentored by a guy like Patrick Peterson, who can relate to him, very good corner. Prime Patrick Peterson was him.
Mhm.
Let's not forget
Right.
Patrick Peterson was one of the best corners in the league for some years when he was in Arizona, and it allows him to get some snaps because he doesn't have to be cornerback one eventually or immediately. So for the best fit for Stingley, if he can fall to Minnesota, I think that's perfect for both teams involved because the Vikings do also need a corner.
Mhm.
Another team, Eagles, they need a corner as well. Or they don't necessarily need a corner. They need cornerback depth. They have
Mhm.
Darius Slay.
They
They have
have
another.
Darius Slay,
There's some
who's
other guy whose name I just don't know off the top of my head, but he's
mhm.
also pretty solid. But he could be like a cornerback 2-3. Learn from Darius Slay. Darius Slay is also a really solid corner, especially when he was in Detroit. He was really really solid. Not to say that he isn't right now.
He had a
Uh,
great season last year. Actually,
yeah, he
I
was.
don't remember the stats off the top of my head, but he was up there.
Yeah, I definitely remember him being in that conversation. There were some conversations where he was like a top five corner in the league.
Yeah.
Uh, Another fit for Derek Stingley, the Ravens. AFC North has some tough receivers.
Mhm.
Deontay Johnson, Jamar. Um, Dang, who else is on the Bengals? They have like three really good receivers.
Oh, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins.
Yeah, those guys. Who else is out there? Oh, Amari Cooper is a Brown
Oh
now.
yeah, I forgot that.
Amari
I
Cooper is a
forgot about.
Brown now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there's some guys out there. So I say he goes to Baltimore. Uh, Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey is already a good cornerback duo, but Marcus Peters has one more year on his deal, and this would allow them to just play Stingley as a cornerback 3, let him
Developing.
develop him. Next year, move him to cornerback 2. Then you have a duo of Marlon Humphrey and Derek Stingley, and that's a pretty solid duo. Because Marlon Humphrey is really versatile. He could play anywhere. Stingley could be on the outside doing his thing. Um, yeah, I just think it will work well for him. If he doesn't go to the Vikings, the Ravens would also work well, just based off of his development. Just because
Mhm.
I trust the Vikings and the Ravens to develop him the most. I have the Jets on here. They just need a corner. Like there's not really that big of a thing on it. It's just they need a corner. And then I have the Giants on here as well. I'd be happy if we got them at 7 because we run that press man scheme and in Derek Stingley, I think more so than Sauce, his
He's a
ability to
better fit.
he's a better fit for the press man.
Yeah,
Um, I also have the Patriots on here. J.C. Jackson left. He's a Charger. Yeah,
Charger.
he's a Charger. Um, and I think it's the same thing with the Ravens and the Vikings. However, I think if he went to New England, he would be cornerback one. My thing with that is Bill Belichick. Like I trust him to develop a player. I trust that New England staff to develop him and have him ready. Um, but realistically, I don't think he's gonna fall to the Patriots. Like the Patriots, the Ravens, I
They're
think are a stretch.
the Patriots are out there. They have the 21st, and the
And
Ravens
then
have
14,
14.
yeah. And then Eagles are at 16. So even then,
Yeah,
it's a stretch. Like, but I think all of those teams really fit him. It just comes down to how much teams value him and if he's put in a situation to succeed. But that's all I had on Stingley.
in my opinion, though, I'm taking Stingley over
So
Gardner.
I could see that. I
Yeah,
definitely could see that. It's a conversation. A lot of people, not to say Sauce is bad, but the Sauce hype train is really making some people forget about how good Derek Stingley is. Although his tape isn't that long, his tape is really good.
it is way closer than it may seem.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next guy up is Kyle Hamilton, Notre Dame,
Okay, safety.
6'4", demon.
Yeah.
This guy, he's a beast. He's an athlete. He isn't the fastest though, which is his downside. But where is he? Oh yeah, I got him. He's a great ball hawk. The teams that I've been fitting on is Falcons, Commanders, and Texans.
Hmm.
Assuming he falls to the Commanders, I don't know if he is.
Hmm.
Ravens can take him though. Literally anyone, even the Vikings if they wanted,
Right. He's just
because
like he's versatile. He could do a lot of
he's
stuff.
a great complement
Hmm.
to Harrison Smith on the Vikings.
Hmm.
He's a ball hawk, as I mentioned earlier. His body control is amazing. His
Hmm.
play recognition, there's this play of him manning the middle of they're in thirds, cover three,
Hmm.
middle of the field. He reads the quarterback's intentions. He runs all the way to the sideline from
Hmm.
like the opposite hash. And
Just
keep
because
in
he
mind,
read it.
just because he read it. And keep in mind, these hashes aren't NFL hashes. They aren't in the middle of the field. They're at
Mhm.
like he's
Oh
two
yeah,
thirds.
college hashes are
Yeah,
far.
they're
It's like
far.
the field is split into thirds, I think.
Yeah, it's split into thirds like high school.
Hmm.
And he covers all of that ground pretty much in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
But I have him fitting as like a cover two, cover three type guy.
Hmm.
He can cover zone, but I don't think he can cover
Man.
one.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, man,
Hmm.
his slot coverage isn't the best. If he
Hmm.
has a mismatch like a Darren Waller, George Kittle, anyone like that, he's gonna get beat.
Right.
Or anyone who's fast enough, like a Tyreek Hill, that'll be an issue.
Yeah.
And his block defeating skills, it's not the best.
Hmm.
His open field tackling, he tends to be an ankle biter. Same
Hmm.
thing for Ahmad Gardner, but that's because they're smaller frame. Or that's
Hmm.
his smaller frame. But Kyle Hamilton, he isn't the best in open field tackling.
Hmm.
But he can improve on that, obviously.
Right.
But I have him going to the Commanders to help complement their front seven
Hmm.
because they have a good front seven in Chase
Just
Young.
get the back of the field. Just
Yeah, just help out that
understandable.
back of the field, and they're good. Like
Hmm.
they could low key be a contender.
Yeah. No, definitely, definitely. I think Kyle Hamilton is a really solid prospect. The way you said he covered the field in like the blink of an eye, but he has a bad 40. He had a bad 40 time.
Yeah,
I think I think some prospects just don't show up at the 40. Like the
I want to
40.
reiterate on that. So like the 40 time isn't football time.
Hmm.
Football speed and running speed are two
Right.
different
Game speed and running speed are very different.
extremely. Like a player could run a 4.4, but in game they're running like a 4.3.
Right.
It's
Definitely.
crazy.
So I
Go
think a
ahead.
lot of people and teams are buying into the 40 time. 40
Hmm.
time don't matter that much. If he has good game speed, which you said he does, and
He
he's
does.
shown, then that should be what it is. And he seems like a very solid player. Only
Hmm.
thing is with him, uh, he's a really solid prospect, and a lot of people have him as like
Yeah.
one of the highest graded prospects. I just think in a class like this, he's gonna fall because it's just like the
Yeah.
teams up top need certain things, and as good as Kyle Hamilton is, I don't think a team is gonna be like, oh, he's on the board. We really need a line. Let's take Kyle Hamilton instead. However, Houston, because of how bad they are,
Mhm.
I think that's the highest he can go. If
Yeah.
Houston's just like, we really like Kyle Hamilton, he could take the Justin Reed spot. Although him and Justin Reed are very different players,
Mhm.
he could take that position, that starting spot. Um, but realistically, I think he's gonna fall. So I think he'll end up in a good situation where he'll be able to complement a already formidable. Um,
Team.
yeah, exactly, definitely though.
I hope he pans out well.
I do too. He's really solid prospect.
Yeah.
Who we got up next?
Next up is Malik Willis. That's me.
Oh, that's you again.
Okay.
Quarterback
So
time.
yeah, this guy is the first quarterback we're talking about. He is a dual threat. He runs, throws like a combination of Lamar and Mahomes, but not exactly
Hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
His arm talent is he has an arm, a cannon. He's creative with his throws. He can throw on the run. He's a playmaker essentially,
Hmm.
and that is also his downside. He tries to go for the big play too much when like he passes up on the easy play, trying to force something big when it's clearly not there. Like there was this play he just needed a first. He
Right.
went for the long bomb instead of an easy dig.
Hmm.
You need to hit those digs to get yardage at least,
Hmm.
but it's coachable. His discipline is also questionable because he chose to ran on a play, but he didn't need to. He could have
Hmm.
just sat in the pocket and then trusted his line, but he took off instead, lost yards. But again, as I mentioned, it's coachable and
Hmm.
he can be good, like really good.
I like that. I like that. Where you got him going?
I got him going to the Giants. I know you're a Daniel Jones fan,
Hmm.
but Giants, Steelers, and Seahawks. He's not going early because realistically, well, I personally wouldn't take him that early.
Hmm.
I'd have him falling to like 9,
Middle, 9 to
yeah,
middle.
9 to middle, because he's a project.
Hmm.
He's going to need to develop. But if he falls to Seattle, he has receivers, he has weapons.
Hmm.
He can also, I guess, sit behind Drew Lock. I
I
guess
don't know how much you
I
want to
don't
do
know if
that,
you'd want to do that.
but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, he could compete for the starting spot. But if he's drafted to the Steelers, he could play behind the MVP. You know, Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
the goat, the guy.
yeah. They also have Deontay Johnson, so that's a weapon right there. They have Pat Fryermuth, who's in development. I think he's going to be the best tight end soon
In the league.
in the league. Like tight end all around. Like run blocker, route runner. You do it all.
He does a little bit of everything. I've seen that. I've seen some plays where he's had some really nice blocks, and then he also seems to be have the ability to make some tough catches and run those routes. So I could see that. Steelers seem to be a pretty good at developing the players they already have. So I definitely could see that. I think now would be a good time to segue into Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
Although I know he's not next on the board, he's the other
Yeah.
quarterback really in the class. It's the
Mhm.
Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis thing. And a lot of things you were saying about Malik Willis can be said about Kenny Pickett. The whole scrambling out of clean pockets thing. Kenny
Mhm.
Pickett does that a lot.
Mhm.
Uh, there's a lot of times where he has time. I call it. I was thinking about it. And I was like, when you're playing Madden, and
Yeah.
when you're playing Madden and you're going against someone and they have a scrambling quarterback and they just run out of the pocket, even
They
if the
just
pocket
take
is
off
there,
for no
right? For
reason.
no reason. He does that. So he has a little bit of a Madden quarterback issue. Um, and then
The thick
I'm
sock.
pretty sure you've heard about this, the small hands thing.
Yeah.
The small hands thing, 8.5 inches. I was like, they're probably exaggerating. There's got to be a good
Mhm.
quarterback who had 8.5 size hands. No,
Mhm.
no, no one.
I
The
mean,
smallest
Joe
hands in the
Burrow got the
league
same
is
critics.
yeah, but Joe Burrow's hands are he has small hands and his hands are bigger than Kenny Pickett's.
Hmm.
Or I think Joe Burrow has 9 inch hands. Kenny Pickett has 8.5 inch hands. That's like half an inch difference.
Yeah.
The smallest handed quarterback in the league currently is Taysom Hill, and he's not even really a quarterback like that.
Mhm.
And Taysom Hill is the smallest hands in the league, and he's also bigger than Kenny Pickett. So once Kenny Pickett gets drafted, he'll be far and away the smallest handed quarterback. Um, I don't know how big of an issue that is. He wears gloves, and throwing with gloves, through my experience, doesn't seem.
It doesn't seem like the best.
Teddy Bridgewater does it though,
I don't understand how he does it,
and
but
he
he's been
doesn't
doing it
need to.
since
He
high
has big
school.
enough hands,
Yeah.
but he just likes to do it. But he the small hands thing. Mike Vick has small hands. Mike Vick is the only person with as
He
small
does.
of hands as him
Hmm.
who was successful, and that's not promising because Mike Vick was an athletic freak, and Kenny
Yeah.
Pickett just doesn't happen to be that. I don't want to tie like because of
Mobile
course
quarterback, multiple quarterbacks.
Joe Burrow had the same critics. Kenny
Mhm,
Pickett's hands are just smaller, so I'm not going to count him out just because his hands are small. He might be able to make
mhm.
it work. I don't know, but that is something to keep in mind because the league has been telling us, and the history of the league has said that quarterbacks with small hands just don't happen to work out. I was looking at a list of small-handed quarterbacks. Not one of them was a prevalent backup, a, a seasoned starter. I've never heard of any of these guys in my life.
Wow.
So Kenny Pickett has to deal with that, but he's not a bad prospect. He is mobile. We all
Mhm.
saw the fake slide. He invented a whole new rule,
He
so
changed the NCAA.
he did. So he's got that going for him. He has experience reading defenses at Pitt.
Mhm.
He's, I think he was a starter for 2 or 3 years. He has above average arm talent. He's not Malik Willis when it comes to his arm strength, but he can get the ball down there. He's accurate at all three levels. He can hit the throws. And the difference between him and Malik, and this is really funny because it's like the exact opposite. You said Malik will throw it down the field without looking for his check
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett will throw it to his check down before
Oh
looking
my.
down the field. Like, he'll have a guy open down the field and he'll be like, "Oh, let me get the ball out quick and just get rid of it." So
That's
for him,
hilarious.
I think it's really important for him to go to a team that has a good O line, just to
Yeah.
help him like calm his jitters down.
Mhm.
Um, he does a couple what's it called on the check down thing. It's not bad that he hits his check down because a lot of the time you have to coach a quarterback into hitting their check down and
Yeah.
going up, down, down, and then making your read. He just
Yeah.
needs to be more patient. I think that's his thing. He needs to be more patient. So he needs to go to a team that will allow him to be patient. Um,
What teams would those be?
those teams for me are the Eagles. I know they have Jalen Hurts, but it
Hmm.
feels like for the last couple years, the Eagles haven't been very confident in Jalen Hurts. I feel like there's
Mhm.
always talks about them not really wanting him to be the quarterback.
Yeah.
So if he falls to Philly and they have 2 picks because they have 2 picks, yeah, because they traded one of them to New Orleans, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. They did
Mhm.
a deal in which either they have 2 picks or they have 1 pick now, something. No, they have two. They have 15 and
They
18.
have two. 15, 18. Yeah.
Yeah. But the Eagles have a really good O line. According to PFF, and I don't really trust PFF, but for O line, I went PFF. They have the fourth best O line in the league. So if he goes there, he'll definitely have that time. And another thing, it was just the Hurts thing. They just
Mhm.
don't seem to have much faith in Hurts. Um, I mean, Devontae Smith is there; he'll have a weapon. Zach Ertz isn't on the Eagles anymore. They have
He's on
Dallas
the.
Goddard,
Mhm.
but he's also solid. But yeah, I think the Eagles will work. The Lions, I think the Lions are really Lions are just ideal for any quarterback because they don't seem
Mhm.
like they want to rush a rookie quarterback into playing.
Yeah.
3 picks in the top 40, 2, 32, 34. That's pretty much 3 first-round picks. And he doesn't have to start immediately. Jared Goff plays this year. He starts next year. Those were really the two main teams, though. I thought about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's O line is really bad, though.
Mhm.
Their time to throw because their offense is really like quick passes,
Mhm.
and I thought that was just like a Mike Tomlin wanted to get the ball out quick. No, it's just they
But that's how
can't.
they have to play.
Yeah, they have to. And Big Ben Roethlisberger didn't have the athleticism at that point in his career anymore to like extend plays like that.
Mhm.
We saw he struggled last year, although did they make the playoffs?
Mm, they
They
might have been
did.
four. They did.
I think they did.
Oh.
I don't remember. They were
Wow.
in the conversation though, because I remember on the
Mhm.
last day of or the last Sunday, the Colts lost to the Jags, and then the Steelers beat the no.
No, they were
Um,
borderline. They didn't
they
make
were
it.
borderline. They were
Yeah, they were
borderline
borderline.
because they needed the Chargers and the Raiders to tie to
Yeah.
make it, huh? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. But they were solid. They were solid last year. Yeah, those are my teams though for Kenny Pickett. I think the Malik Willis Kenny Pickett thing is interesting because they both
Mhm.
offer very different things. Then you got guys like Desmond Ritter out
Yes.
of Cincinnati, and then you got Sam Howell. He went to Ole Miss. There's some guys. There's some guys who are interesting to me.
That guy from North Carolina. Where is he at?
Sam Howell went to North
Oh,
Carolina.
it's Sam Howell. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Who played at Ole Miss then? There's another guy
Mm,
who played for Ole Miss that didn't play at. UNC.
Ole
Or maybe
Miss.
Sam Howell was a UNC to Ole Miss transfer.
Maybe.
Ole Miss quarterback. Ole Miss quarterback. I'm gonna search that up.
Desmond Ritter went to Cincinnati.
Yeah, he went to Cincinnati.
Sam Howell went to North Carolina. Huh. Yeah, I couldn't think of
Matt
his name.
Matt Corral. Matt Corral is the Ole Miss QB.
Oh.
Okay, could not think of bro's name, but yeah,
hmm
there's some guys in this class. I don't think there's that guy at quarterback. I think they all have pretty solid potential. They just again they need to be coached. So it's on to you. I think. I don't think I have the next person.
Um, I got Jameson Williams.
Oh, that's all you, bro.
So this guy is speedy.
Mhm.
That's it.
He's fast.
That's all I have to say.
Like, cause I've heard from people he has like Tyreek potential, not like
Yeah.
potential, but like as far as speed and being like one of the best, just pure speed deep threats in the league. He's got like Tyreek Hill level of like ability.
This guy runs a 4.29 to 4.35 40.
Yeah, no, he's fast. Oh my god.
Yeah. His clear upsides after the catch. That's where he thrives.
hmm
In college, he ran short stuff, ran after the catch, all that RPO, quick plays, quick throws, all that stuff.
hmm
But in the NFL, that might just not work because he has a smaller frame. He has a low motor. I know that sounds
He has
interesting.
like a legit low motor.
Like a legit low motor. He gives up easily, I guess. He
hmm
doesn't he doesn't keep on going, I guess.
Like he'll
And he,
give up on a ball, even though he'll
yeah,
have the speed to get there.
he'll
Okay.
have the speed to get there. He his weakness is route running, but he's shown flashes of potential of doing it great.
hmm
Just it's inconsistent.
Inconsistent. Yeah.
And the teams that I have fitting on are the Falcons because they need a replacement for Calvin Ridley.
Because he's out for this
We all
year.
know what's out. Yeah, we all
Yeah.
know why he's out. Texans help Davis Mills,
Progress.
help him out a little bit. Ravens, he can be a better Marquise Brown, but that's if they would be want to make like a Chiefs type offense, Legion of Zoom.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd want to go that route though.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't want him going there because
I think
he
if
wouldn't
they
get
want to go receiver, they probably gonna go Drake London because of just his
probably.
physical
They
abilities and
need
his ability
size.
to block and contribute to the run game.
Yeah, but if he goes to the Eagles, I wouldn't be surprised.
They
Make
need
up
a
for that
receiver
Jalen
still.
Rager pick in 2019.
Yeah, they're gonna
Just
have to keep doing that until they finally, because Jalen Rieger over Justin Jefferson is still a
crazy.
wild miss. That's a wild
Like I
miss.
haven't even heard of Jalen Rieger. No offense to him, but
Yeah,
I
no. As far
didn't
as
think
like
he was
being
going around.
good, I remember Jalen Rieger earlier this season was mad at Eagles fans, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna show them how good I am." Then when they played us, right?
Mhm.
In the game we won, it was close. They had like a drive going to take the lead. Jalen Rieger dropped a
Yeah, he
very
dropped.
catchable touchdown
Yeah,
ball. It wasn't even just a touchdown. He dropped a pass before that would have put them in like running position. Like he's just like it's bad. Eagles fans don't like him. He doesn't like Philly. They just need to get a replacement for him. Those are all your teams though.
yeah, those are the only teams that have him
I
going
think
so far.
another team in this because the Packers need to get a Devonte Adams replacement. I like
True.
Devonte. Having a guy with the speed and then having Aaron Rodgers be able to like actually take advantage of that speed. I don't know how you
Yeah.
feel about that, but I think Green
He's
Bay.
not physical. He's not as physical as Tay.
Yeah, he's definitely they're not gonna find anyone on Tay's level, but if they're just trying to find someone who could like a band-aid to cover up the wound, I think he could be that guy. He could get
I
down
might
the
take
field.
Garrett Wilson or Drake London over him.
Yeah, I think in
Not
general,
all around. Those
oh,
guys are.
all around, yeah, they're better than. And then
Yeah.
also he got hurt, right,
Yeah.
in the national
Yeah, he got hurt
championship,
in the national championship.
torn
So that might
ACL.
stain him a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
but
just
he's
something
just
to keep in mind.
right. Torn ACL ain't even like that no more though in the NFL. It's kind of wild.
Mhm.
The torn ACL injury because someone came back from a torn ACL in the same season that they like. It was a Seahawks player. I don't remember who it was.
Nah, because it takes 9 months for you to recover.
Hey, I have no clue, but he tore his ACL and he played the same year. It was a. I'm gonna
He
search it
might
up.
he might not have gotten surgery then
Yeah,
because
I need to see this.
I
Hmm.
mean Brady has torn his ACL in his return, but not I don't think it was in the same season.
Yeah, no, that's different. I'm talking about it was the same season, bro. Came back. I can't find it. But bro tore his ACL and he came back the same year, bro. It was wild. It was really wild.
Philip Rivers played through a torn ACL in the AFC
In the
Championship.
AFC Championship against the Jets,
Yeah.
right?
hmm
Yeah, yeah. But with sports technology, that ACL injury is turning into just a
It's crazy. It
yeah.
used to be a career-ending injury.
And then
I
you
mean, I
dealt
have
with
it.
that. You dealt
I'm
with that.
recovering. From it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you know what it's like. You
it's
definitely know
rough,
it's rough.
but it's fine.
Yeah.
Who
Sports
else you got on your
technology.
board?
Yeah. Who we got next?
There's a few: Jordan Davis, Chris Olave,
Jordan
Traylon
Davis.
Burks. Jordan
Uh,
Davis. You have him?
I don't have Jordan Davis.
Hmm.
Let me see who I haven't talked about, and we could just do it like that because I do want to get to the NFL or the
hmm
NBA.
NBA.
I have two more guys I have to talk about. I have Jermaine Johnson and I have Garrett Wilson, and we just
Oh yeah,
talked about a
Garrett Wilson.
receiver. Let's
He
go
was
to Garrett
above.
Wilson.
He was above what's his? He was
Oh,
above
okay, we might have just skipped
Jameson
him.
Williams. Yeah.
Garrett Wilson though, Ohio State. Chris Olave, also Ohio State. We got a couple of Ohio State receivers. His strengths, he can catch those 50-50 balls. He gets up and he goes up and he gets it. He has good breakaway on his deep routes. He can create separation. Good hang time. He can get in the air. He knows how to switch speed mid route, which is a very underappreciated skill. Knowing how to
Hmm.
vary your speed between your route, knowing when to slow down, speed up, things like that. And he has good run after catch potential. Weaknesses: he struggles against press. He has weak footwork at times, and his route running is not. It really needs to be worked on. He doesn't know how to adjust his routes in traffic that well. Something we see someone like Cooper Cup does all the time, and he's really good
Yeah.
at it. He's just a raw route runner. That's how they have him described on the NFL
It's
website.
coachable though. It's
Very
totally
coachable,
coachable.
definitely coachable. Um,
It's gonna take time, but
Route running is definitely one of those things that takes time though. It's
yeah.
not like gonna be like a one season thing. But he has hands. Hands isn't an issue. His hands are
hmm
there, and when it comes to just coming down with a deep, difficult catch, he can do that. He can definitely do that. Team fits the Patriots first. Uh,
Okay. Yeah.
Patriots need a receiver. I know they got Devontae Parker from the Dolphins, but who knows how good he's going to be. He was good for a couple years, and then he's been dealing with injuries as of late. But
Low key washed. Not
yeah,
at all.
because he's had some pretty bad injuries actually.
Yeah.
Last year he didn't play all that much, so I don't know how much of a difference maker he is. And then on StatMuse, which is the advanced NFL stat website I sent you, I think
hmm
the Patriots do not create deep opportunities. And
They don't.
I don't know if that's I think it's a Bill Belichick
It's a
offense
Belichick.
thing,
It's a Belichick trusting Mac Jones thing,
right?
in my opinion. Like
Even when
he
they were
doesn't.
in New England, when Brady was there, the deep ball wasn't a big prevalent thing. However, when they had Randy Moss, they were able to create opportunities for deep passes. Not to say that Garrett Wilson is Randy Moss,
Mhm.
but if you give Bill Belichick a wide
That deep
receiver
ball
with that,
playmaker.
he'll be able to do something with it.
Yeah.
Um, Another team, the Packers, they just need a receiver. I think what I was trying to say about
Jameson
Jameson
Williams.
Williams
Yeah.
really applies to Garrett Wilson because Aaron Rodgers will get the most out of Garrett Wilson,
He'll get the
no
most
doubt.
out of any receiver.
Yeah, any rookie receiver, to be
He'll
honest.
work with Devontae, and Devontae had like the most drops in his rookie year. It's crazy.
hmm
Now he's known as being one of the best
Hands,
pass catchers in the league.
yeah. Next guy or the last, not last team. I think I have two. Nope, last team. Jets. Zach Wilson, just give him a little bit of help. Zach Wilson's got an arm on him. Let's not forget he's got a cannon.
Cannon.
They got two top 10 picks, so they could go corner and then go Garrett Wilson at 10, maybe.
hmm
He'll be able to take advantage of Zach Wilson's arm. And the Jets, which is wild. I didn't know this was a thing, but the Jets are one of four teams without a 1,000 yard wide receiver or tight end.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't check who the other four teams are, but I would not be surprised if the Giants were one.
Mhm.
But that's something you want to improve on. This is all the Jets thing specifically is susceptible to change because they're in the Debo Samuel running. They're like the team in the Debo Samuel thing. So if they get
Mhm.
Debo, they're probably not going to have two top 10 picks. They're probably going to trade
If
10.
if they get Debo, this is changing everything
Yeah.
because
Uh,
his value skyrockets.
right. Definitely. But yeah. Who do you have left? Because I just
I
have
got
Jermaine Johnson.
I have Devin Lloyd. Jermaine Johnson's above Devin Lloyd, so you can go up with him. I'll finish up with Devin Lloyd.
And then we can make our way to the NBA.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Let's look at my boy Jermaine Johnson. Florida State. I love Florida State's jerseys. Their jerseys are so
So nice.
nice. What's it called? Let's find my boy Jermaine Johnson, another edge rusher. He's Jermaine Johnson, edge, Florida State. I think he's still ranked edge number 4 on.
I'll get on that.
Yeah, I think he's named ranked edge number
Pretty
4 as far as
sure.
I know. He
Yeah,
should
'cause I don't
be.
think he's risen.
He's definitely not higher than Trayvon Walker, and he's
Yeah.
been rising like that. He's
Yeah,
he's
he's ranked
definitely edge number 4.
Yeah.
His strengths, he's nice wingspan, great hustle, generates second effort sacks, rarely stays blocked, gets around the ball and run defense. And he once he's in the pocket, he's gonna get to the quarterback.
hmm
It's just a matter of how consistently he'll be able to do that in the NFL.
Uh-huh.
His hands lack skill. He struggles to attack the run sometimes because he ball chases essentially.
Mhm.
And he gives up his gaps and he gives up contains, and his depth is inconsistent as well. Like sometimes his route to the quarterback will be very shallow, other times it'll be too wide. So it's just like those kinds of things. For Jermaine Johnson, his fits for me, teams we already talked about. Giants, they just need pass rush. Seattle, he's really solid to start off the rebuild, and then the Jets, Robert Saleh will probably be able to get something out of him.
Yeah, for sure.
Same teams we talked about though. I don't
I
see
love
him.
Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
I just love him.
actually no. Robert Saleh is their head coach. He was the Niners defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and then got a head coach position with the Jets.
That's true.
But yeah, Robert Saleh is a very smart and good coach. So
hmm
I
Besides,
trust him.
I'm sure he's trying to build that. Like, no, not him. The Dolphins are trying to build like a Shanahan type offense,
Right,
quick RPO, run heavy type
right.
team.
He knows
I mean,
that.
it's
He
why they
knows that
traded
offense.
Tyreek
So
Hill.
he's good. He's trying to stop that offense essentially.
Mhm.
Not and then on top of that, he's got to deal with the Bills, who are probably the best all
They're
around
the
roster in
favorites.
the league.
Yeah,
They're definitely the best all around roster in the league. And then you got the Patriots, who are always solid. So he's got a tough task ahead of him as far as that division is going to be so interesting next year.
for sure.
Because of course, I feel like the Jets are going to be last in the division. I don't think there's.
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins are going to be solid enough, but like, it's going to be sort of interesting. I think all of those teams are going to be interesting to watch.
hmm
Yeah, that's you. You
The
closing
next
us
guy
out.
that I got is Devin Lloyd. It's our last guy,
Linebacker.
linebacker out of Utah. It's his 5th year in college. Crazy,
Oh,
right?
did he get that
Yeah.
COVID red shirt thing?
Yeah, he got that COVID red shirt.
Okay.
And I have him projected going to the Chargers, Titans, and Chiefs. All of those teams are ranked bottom half of the league in linebacker cores on according to PFF.
Mm.
Although I don't trust PFF because they make
They
up
just-
their own things.
Yeah, they try and like make football a numerical thing. It's really
Yeah.
not.
So his strengths, he's a downhill run stopper. His pass coverage showing as like it's okay. It's not bad. But sometimes he's stiff in game around traffic. Like he'll get caught, but he knows how to maneuver around it.
Mhm.
And he's a versatile defender. He can defend the run, the pass, just not as good as a pass defender. He's a run stopper, pretty much.
Yeah.
But his downsides, he hesitates to look for the ball. Like if it's a run play, he would drop back into coverage or
Instead of like seeing the
Instead of-
ball as.
reading gaps.
Mhm.
Yeah. His hand usage against run blocking, so block shedding, teachable, it's
Mhm.
fine. And he's stiff when in coverage, so he might be one-dimensional in a sense,
Like just a run stopper,
like
pretty
just
much.
a run stopper. But
His pass.
can
He's
work on it.
fast. Is he athletic?
I haven't checked into that, although I should have.
I feel like he's probably got some athletic traits. I don't think he ran no like 540. Like he's got to be like sub 4.7.
You're on a 4.66.
Yeah,
40.
he's not the fastest dude in the world, but he's pretty fast.
He's not slow.
He's definitely not going to be. He's never going to be a coverage type of guy.
Yeah,
That's never going to
he's
be
for
his
sure
thing.
a run stopper. I'm sure he's gonna get a lot of tackles because he knows how to maneuver through traffic.
Yeah. And you had his fits as the Chargers and who else?
Chargers, Chiefs, and Titans.
I like
Chiefs
the-
need a linebacker. I have the Chargers taking one though.
They just lost Kaiser White, so it makes
Yeah,
sense. They need to get
it makes
someone.
sense.
And then the Titans are interesting as well.
Yes,
As long as he gets coached up, I think he could be really solid. I just think
for sure,
coverage isn't going to be his thing. He's going to be a tackle kind of guy.
for sure.
But yeah, draft is going to be really interesting. I'm I'm looking forward to it because it's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Um, as a Giants fan, I'm definitely looking forward to it. This is probably one of the biggest off seasons for me because we just changed our regime. We got Joe Shane and Brian Dable from Buffalo as our new GM and head coach. So it's just like we're starting a new era. Speaking of new era, on YouTube, I texted you about this. I was watching some Giants behind the
Yeah,
scenes thing, and
the Giants behind the scenes
it's
video.
really reassuring that to see like how our coaching staff operates behind the scenes and
Mhm.
how on the same page they are. But that's for me. I'm just looking forward to the draft. I've been looking forward to it for a minute, especially when you have two top 10 picks. Nothing you can complain about.
Right.
It's the dream, bro. Yeah.
Speaking of coaching, I love Desgasha as a step up special teams coach to the head coach out of nowhere
Hmm.
after Gruden having to resign.
Right.
I liked him as a coach, but I think he signed somewhere else.
He's not with you guys. I don't think.
Yeah, he's not with us anymore.
Who is you
Which
guys' head? Oh, is you guys' head coach Patrick Graham?
um
Because
the Raiders head coach is
Josh
Josh
McDaniels.
McDaniels.
Okay,
That's
I
right.
remember this
Okay, yeah.
because everyone. I was like, I don't really like that hire that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, y'all got Devonte Adams. Y'all, who else y'all get? Y'all got Chandler Jones too, right?
We have some pieces. As
Yeah,
long as he has the right teams, I think we can do fine.
y'all will be straight. Y'all don't have no picks this
Hopefully
year.
draft someone good in the third.
Yeah, the third.
Hopefully.
But even as a fan who doesn't have a team in the draft, you're still
I'm
excited,
still
I
rooting
assume.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
definitely, definitely.
I just want to see how
Uh,
some of these towns pan out
yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be really interesting to see how these guys actually pan out.
for sure.
But I think now would be a good time because we've probably been recording for a good hour, and we've just been talking about the draft. So now we should probably shift over to the playoffs. Um, I want to check the scores currently. Okay, so the Bucks have officially eliminated the Bulls. They won 116 to 100 a little bit earlier.
From what I've seen, when I was watching the game, I only watched until halftime.
Mhm.
The Bulls could not get any threes down.
Yeah,
That
the
was their weakness.
Bulls they play so weird. It's like the tough shot, like specifically with DeMar DeRozan as a player, the little
Yeah,
tough mid-range pull-up thing isn't gonna work. And like
yeah.
all the time it's not gonna work.
It's worked sometimes, but he got blocked by Brooke Lopez.
And he
And
didn't play particularly well tonight. He had 11.7 assists and two rebounds.
I
Stats don't
mean,
say everything
he had
though.
a
Like
good
you got to
shot.
watch how the game.
Like he had to shoot because
Yeah,
nobody was hitting threes.
yeah. Let's see how well they shot. They shot 28% from three, 15 for 52 from the
Yeah,
3-point line. They
yeah, bro.
really could not hit anything.
They couldn't. And then they also didn't get an offensive rebound until like the second quarter.
Oh yeah, they lost the rebounding battle by like 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, turnovers were equal. Bucks had 24 more points in the paint. Yeah, the Bucks just hey, that's the
The
Bucks.
Bucks are so dominant. It's mainly Giannis.
Giannis.
Giannis' plus minus was 18.
Oh yeah, he's been so good that series. He's really been so good that series. But
He went 11 for 14 from the free throw line. The
hey,
same guy
who's
who
labeled as a guy who can't hit
last
free throws.
season.
Yeah, labeled as a guy who can't hit free throws, and he always turns his ability to hit free throws up in like big games.
He's
Um,
developed. That's it. That's all I
yeah,
gotta say. He's developed into a great player.
definitely. His playmaking is also a really
Pat
underappreciated
Connaughton
aspect
had
of it.
himself a game dropping 20,
Did he?
shooting 7 for 11, 23 minutes off the bench.
Hey, that's solid. How did Grayson Allen play? Because I know he was hooping in the other games.
Grayson Allen had 13, 5 for 10, 3 for 6 from 3, 5
I know
rebounds, 1
they
assist.
hate him out there in Chicago because
For
of
sure.
for the
Bro, they
Caruso
were
foul.
booing him during the game.
Right. And he has been
And they
hooping.
were at
Like
home.
the last 3 games, he was hooping. I think he had in one of the games, he had like 20 something points.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been
Oh,
hooping.
yeah. He was going crazy. He
Yeah.
had like 27, I think.
Yeah,
Around that
he
area.
was hooping.
Yeah.
Like it was the game where the Bulls scored like 80 points and they lost
Yeah.
by like 40. But do you want to start in the East or the West?
Let's go with the East.
Let's go with the East. So let's start at 1-8. 1-8 in the East is
Hey,
the.
hold on, I'm gonna get my charger because my computer about to die.
Oh
Give me a
yeah,
second.
go ahead and do that. I'll start without you. 1-8 in the East is what? Why did this? Oh, Heat Hawks. Yeah, Heat won the series last night. Heat are I think they won 4-1. Trae Young put up a stinker. I'm gonna wait till Ethan comes back to really get in on how bad Trae Young played in this series. But geez, Trae Young was awful this series. It was like I gotta look at the stats for his points in each of these games. I think in 3 of the games he was single digits. In 3 of the games of this series, I believe he was single digits. I'm not like I know I was on the NBA what's it called?
I am back.
I'm on Hawks Heat.
Alright.
Trae Young. It starts with Trae Young. Like it
It
has to
has to
start.
start with Trae Young.
Like I remember the NBA posted this on Instagram. Trae Young has the second highest drop off in points per game from playoffs to or from regular season to
From
playoffs.
regular season playoffs.
He averaged 15 in that series. 15. And he's supposed to be one of the best scorers in the league. And it just first off, before we talk about Trae Young, credit to the Heat. He played really
For sure.
good. He played great defense.
Very good defense.
Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. He knows how to make his adjustments. But Trae Young and the way the Hawks play, and this is
Doesn't work.
prevalent. Yeah, it's prevalent with other teams too. The Nets we're gonna get on because they're actually the next series, and I have a lot to talk about with that one. But the Hawks, just the way their roster is constructed,
Mhm.
for the Hawks to go from being an Eastern Conference team, which they were, of course, they weren't expected to do that in the first place. So let's not make the standard for them to be in a conference
Mhm.
finals team. It was expected they were gonna not play as well, but for Trae Young specifically to go out like that, it's kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Definitely kind of sucks.
Let's talk about the Heat's defense though. Their defense, their rotations, their pickups, their trust within each other
Yeah,
is next
they
level.
they buy in. It's the Heat culture is a very real thing. Heat players buy into being on the Heat, and they have that mentality where all of them want to play good defense. Like it's two different things to be capable as a defender and have the skills to be a good defender, and then wanting to be a good defender. An example of that, and there's another guy we're going to talk about in the playoffs, Donovan Mitchell. He has the skills to be a good defender. He
Mhm.
just doesn't want to be a good defender. No one on that Jazz team really is a good defender like that. But
They just
that's
rely on Gobert in the
yeah.
paint.
We'll
That's
we'll we'll get to that.
yeah.
But credit to the Heat. That is a very well constructed roster. Um, and 1-8 plays 4-5, so they're either playing the Raptors or the Sixers.
Mhm.
Hey, Philly, we gonna get to them too, because there's just a lot to talk about with the playoffs. It's in
Mhm.
general, I think we can both agree that this playoff so far really interesting. It's been really good.
For sure.
Even the sweeps or
Yeah.
the one
Just
sweep was really interesting. And then the Nuggets, your team, who looked like they were gonna get swept, were still pretty interesting to watch.
still in this.
Yes, y'all are still in it right now. Y'all are playing right now, and the score
Right now.
is 25-30. Y'all are down at the end of the third or the end of the first. But you know,
It's
y'all
fine.
y'all y'all got time. It's early in the game.
Yep.
But in general, just been a really good playoff. But as far as Heat Hawks, not much to talk about. Trae Young stunk it up. The Heat played really good defense, and Jimmy Butler didn't even play for like one of the games, and Kyle
Mhm.
Lowry didn't play for like 2 of the games. So you would
Yeah.
probably expect a little more out of the Hawks, but I think they're gonna get it together in the off season. Not having Clint Capella hurts though.
For
That's
sure.
it hurt them. Um, but let's go two
Like
seven. Let's go two
they
seven. Did you have something
couldn't.
else to say?
Yeah, about the Heat and Hawks.
Go ahead.
They couldn't turn the ball. Like they couldn't get steals.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Couldn't
last game
force
that I
turnovers.
watched, it was the last game.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat didn't have a turnover, like a legit turnover, until like the third quarter, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The
Yeah.
only turnovers they given up were like offensive charges. That's it.
Right, but like stealing, it's like getting a
Fast
fast break
breaks
type thing.
are
Fast break
not there.
offense wasn't there. Okay,
It was not there.
definitely,
But
definitely,
then I think that is the Hawks' weakness. They don't generate fast breaks.
because they don't have good defenders.
Yeah,
And the
they don't
thing is,
have.
like, when your best player, this is just the way I think about basketball. When you're the best player, part of your responsibility is being good on defense. And
Hmm.
Trae Young is not a good defender. Even if you're not a great defender, like I'm not asking you to be Kawhi and get 27 points and then also lock down the best player on the other team, but being a willing defender and leading your team and actually like buying into the defensive side of the ball, Trae Young just doesn't really do that. He's a really bad defender,
He's
and
just bad.
yeah, he's just it's like no other way to put
Yeah.
it other than he's just a bad defender. I think they're solid. I if I'm a Hawks fan, I'm not.
I'm not disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean, of
y'all.
course, I'm going to be disappointed in Trey and how his performance was.
But
That's obvious.
as a fan, I don't know if you could really expect the Hawks to make it farther than the first round this year. The East is
Yeah,
really stacked, so it's like,
it really is.
you ready to go 2-7 though?
Let's go. I know you
It's
got a lot to say about that one.
the Nets. The Nets. The Nets. Uh, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, those guys, they got swept by the Boston Celtics. Again, let's start this off. Credit to the Celtics. Jason Tatum was so good on defense this series. It
He
was actually
locked up Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant, one of a guy who's supposed to be one of the best scorers of all time. A lot of people say he is the best scorer of all time. And Jason Tatum was playing such good of defense that it was just like, hey,
Crazy.
credit to their defense, credit to their coach. I don't know how to say his name. It's like Ime Udoka or something like that. But he coached circles around Steve Nash.
Mhm.
His rotations were on point, things like that. And I think like when you talk about this series, first off, Kevin Durant. Oh my God, did he not play well this series? And it's just like I'm gonna get on KD, but let me talk about Game 4 specifically. I wasn't able to catch it the first half of Game 4. I got the
Mhm.
second half of Game 4.
Mhm.
Jason Tatum was doing his thing on defense. Marcus Smart made some really big plays. The fourth quarter specifically, though, late in the fourth quarter, Jason Tatum fouls out of the game, and they don't have him for I think the last 4.5
For the last
minutes,
4.5 minutes.
and they still lose. And it was like a 1 point game.
Yeah.
What's it called? Brickolas Claxton being 0 for 10 from the free throw line is
Overton, the free throw line.
unacceptable.
If he hits one or at least like two, that
Yeah,
changes the whole game.
it was. They won by well, like once like a late in the game and they start getting
They took
fast break
off.
dunks and
Yeah,
stuff
they
and
just
like
took
free
the game.
throws.
Yeah.
But like the actual score is like a 1 or 2 point game.
Yeah.
Nicholas Claxton needs to hit those free throws. And I don't know how you feel about this, but when you look at Kevin Durant as a basketball player and his perception he receives amongst the media and fans, is he starting to become a little overrated to you? Because it's like, like when we're talking about the best players in the league,
Mhm.
it's oh my god,
Oh
it's
my
a
god.
crime. It's a
Yo,
crime.
I'm gonna mute my mic. Hold on,
Yeah,
give me
go
a
ahead,
second.
go ahead. Um, but I'm sure you can still hear me. But you can respond to this when you don't have a crime scene going on during outside your house. But Kevin Durant, when we talk about the best player in the league, and you say Jokic, you're like Jokic is the best player in the league because he can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
LeBron is the best player in the league because of his playmaking, his finishing ability. Steph Curry
Hmm.
is the best player in the league because of his
Because he's shooting.
gravity, his shooting,
Yeah.
his gravity, his leadership. Who's another guy? Embiid, his dominance, Giannis, his two-way versatility.
Hmm.
But when people talk about Kevin Durant and the conversation about being the best player in the NBA, it's almost as if they're like Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA because Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. It's because he can score. It's
That's
like
it.
it's just he can score,
Like
and
he's not a bad defender, but he's not
he's not a great
a
defender.
great one.
And
Yeah.
then his playmaking in this series got exposed. He
Yeah.
was not playmaking. And my thing is, Kevin Durant is put in these conversations where he's like, he's supposed to be second fiddle to LeBron. And
Hmm.
some people say he's been better than LeBron the last few years. But when you look at Kevin Durant and the way the media talks about him, you can't tell me that you believe that if LeBron James played as well as Kevin Durant did this series, that Stephen A. Smith would be on First Take blaming Kyrie Irving. The
Hmm.
conversation would be about how LeBron played because we hold LeBron to that standard. I think
Yeah.
with Kevin Durant, we the only criticism Kevin Durant gets is as a person. His
Yeah.
decision to go to the Warriors and his the way he handles his social media presence.
His
But
social media talk.
Right.
It doesn't help his picture at all.
But on the court, no one talks about his game. It's been a consistent, like when you look at Kevin Durant's career and what he's accomplished, and then you look at how people talk about him, it's not equivalent. Like, pull up his basketball reference right here. And I'm a Thunder fan because of Kevin Durant. And I'm telling you, Kevin Durant's career is I have his basketball reference pulled up. I don't know if you have the same thing.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. 12-time All-Star, 4-time scoring champ. The scoring thing, I'm never taking that away from Kevin Durant. He can score like no other.
For
And
sure.
this is, I think we had a conversation about Kevin Durant as the greatest scorer of all time. Like, what's it called?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm good.
Okay. But we had a discussion about Kevin Durant being the greatest scorer of all time. And I said Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer of all time in theory. In theory, having a 6'10" guy with a crazy 7-foot wingspan who can dribble like a guard, shoot like no other, can finish, has the handle, like he's got that. In theory, Kevin Durant is the greatest scorer of all
That
time.
unguardable mid-range.
Right.
Elevate that.
However,
If we're talking about a bag though, he
not
doesn't.
not even just the bag. He doesn't have the bag. There's guys.
Yeah.
Kyrie has a bigger bag than Kevin
For
Durant.
sure.
But like, when you look at the NBA, like how he's been in the league, he's not the greatest scorer of all time. Like, the great Michael Jordan. If you look at Michael Jordan as a scorer compared to Kevin Durant, he's a better scorer. Kobe Bryant as a scorer is better than Kevin Durant, and that's not even deniable. Like, for most of your career, being from like 25 to 28 is impressive. But for people to be like, oh, this guy is the greatest scorer of all time, and he's only averaged 30 points per game twice in his career, like, is he really? And
He's
then
just great at getting a bucket.
he can get a bucket. Okay, I'll give him this. He's averaged 30 points per game 3 times, because this year he averaged
29, I think, right?
29.9.
Yeah.
Yeah, 29.9 in 50 games though. So it's like he didn't play a full 82.
Yeah.
But then, okay, so a lot of the time when we talk about Kevin Durant, when we're talking about like all-time lists, KD is always somewhere around the 12 range.
Yeah.
And if you look at what Kevin Durant has done in his career, and the most important things in a player's career to me are championships and MVPs and defensive player awards like that. Those hold the most weight to me. Kevin Durant's championships, not to discredit them because all championships count, but his championships and his moments where he's shown up as that guy, are they really there? KD doesn't have moments in comparison to the guys in that caliber that he's compared to. Someone like even Steph has those moments as the guy. The 73-9 season and the unanimous MVP, you can't take away from him. Kevin Durant doesn't have that. He has 4 finals appearances. He's 2-2 in the finals. We have the win against the 2 Warriors wins against Cleveland, where arguably he wasn't even the best player on the team. And then his 2 losses, the Raptors one where he was injured. So, I mean, you can't really hold that against him, but he lost. And then you got the one against LeBron in 2012 when he was on the Thunder. But a guy who wins 2 rings, has 1 MVP, and can score the basketball, is he top 10? Top 12 to you? Like, no. I don't see that. And it's like, because again, there's guys who don't have accolades, like Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson is a guy who doesn't have accolades like that,
but he has the skill. And he's contributed to basketball as a sport, like in the culture and things like that.
Kevin Durant hasn't done that. He doesn't have the cultural. He hasn't done anything for the culture. And then his accolades are cool and all, but he's not like that kind of guy to me. I think it's getting to be to the point where people are starting to overrate Kevin Durant a bit just because of how good of a scorer he is in theory. That's how I feel about it. I know I just talked for a bit.
You're good.
You can go ahead and give your insight on this as in your opinion.
I think that series comes down to Steve Nash as well.
It does.
He's on the hot seat next season for sure. And he just got outcoached terribly.
Like his rotations were just like
they weren't it. And Kyrie Irving
underperformed.
I don't want to point him out, but
he underperformed.
Yeah.
He underperformed.
I don't know.
It's
I
disappointing.
just got mixed feelings about it.
It's very disappointing. My thing is though, like as to what I'm saying, when we talk about great players and when great players lose,
Mhm.
I've never seen a player go out this bad and not be the face of the criticism. Like
Like KD's the top or one of the top players
in the
in
league,
the
but he
NBA.
doesn't get held to that standard as a top
Yeah.
player. Like you're a Nuggets fan. When
Yeah.
Jokic wasn't putting up the insane numbers against a team that is clearly better than him, he
Mhm.
was, oh, this guy's not the MVP. He
Last
did
season
not
is a prime example.
right. Well, even this year, I see people on Instagram commenting, not my MVP. My MVP wouldn't go out like this. So
Yeah.
your MVP wouldn't go out. And let's not forget, Jokic stole one. Jokic won a game.
Mhm.
Jokic didn't get swept. He won a
Like
game.
he was going crazy in all of the games in the series.
He slightly underperforms. He's been good that series. And people
Yeah.
act like because he's losing games, he's no longer the MVP.
He literally has to
However,
drop like 35 and 13 to win a game.
right. However, Kevin Durant played way worse than Jokic has.
Mhm.
Got swept, and we're talking about, oh, Steve Nash did this, and Kyrie didn't show up, and Nicholas Clark. Like if LeBron, and I hate to do the LeBron thing, I'm a LeBron fan. That's probably
Mhm.
something I should establish on the podcast. I'm a LeBron fan. LeBron's my goat. But like if LeBron were to do the same thing,
They would degoat him.
they
Like
would like it'd
not
be,
the goat.
oh, this guy can't be the GOAT. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be, oh, but Frank Vogel, and then like Anthony Davis, and no, the blame would go primarily on LeBron. But amongst, here's the thing, LeBron fans blame his teammates more so than they blame LeBron. They blame his teammates and his coaches. But the general public, I feel like, blames LeBron more. As
Yeah.
for with KD fans deflect and blame his teammates, and it can't be his fault. And I think the media is doing a bit of the same thing with Kevin Durant. It's becoming a thing where it's just like he's not getting held to the same standard when it comes to the criticism he receives, but he's held to the same standard as far as how good he is.
The shot splits of game 4
Mhm,
was 31 shots from KD,
mhm.
13 from Kyrie, and 13 from Seth Curry.
Yeah,
The
like
rest of the team hasn't taken more than 6 shots. The
like
closest one was Nicholas Claxton and Goran Dragic. They both
Brickolas
took 6.
Claxton. That's his name from now on.
My
Brickolas
fault.
Claxton
1
is
for
his name.
11 from the free throw line,
Oh, he did make one.
and he made 1,
Okay.
surprisingly. Yeah, but he went 9 for 13. He had 23 points that game. Seth Curry, he's arguably the third best player on that team. You can debate, but KD is their best player.
And
3 for 11 from the 3-point line.
yeah, no, and it's really like 2 for 11 because I don't know if you watched the end of that game, like the very end of that game. KD hit a jumper, a 3-point jumper with like 20 seconds left when the game was already over. So that like
Oh,
that boosts his stats. It's like two for. You said
2
he
for
shot
10.
3 for 11.
Yeah.
He shot like 2 for 10. He shot
Wow.
20% from three.
Wow. But Kyrie, he shot 6 for 13. So you can't.
Oh, oh.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish what you're gonna say, but I have a play that I have in mind that I need to bring up.
He. Oh wow. KD actually passed the ball. He had 9 assists.
That
But
game, but in
Kyrie had 5.
general,
Go ahead.
um, Kevin Durant missed a free throw, like a very
Oh
clutch
no.
free throw. KD missed a free throw,
Yeah.
and it was like I think it was a down 3 scenario, and he hits the free throw. They'd be down 2, and I think the shot clock was still there, so they
Mhm.
had the chance to. He hits the free throw. They get on defense, get a stop, and they have some time to put together a shot. Even if he misses it, that's a better way
Yeah.
to go out than just missing the free throw and ending the game there.
Mhm.
But he misses the free throw. I'm sorry, but if LeBron were to miss a clutch free throw like that, he would get butchered. It would be like he's not clutch. He's not this guy. And with Kevin Durant, I'm gonna keep coming back to this point. Kevin Durant gets a pass.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, Ben
It's
Simmons. We have to
just.
talk about Ben Simmons.
Oh God. Don't even get me started on him.
I don't know how you managed to not play a whole season, and get your bag still, but Ben Simmons is going to mess up the league in the future when and this is a little bit like not reiterated, but like this is a conversation I've been hearing from other people who talk about sports. But when they do the PD or like the teams meeting with the players and everything, like what
Mhm.
the MLB just did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but
The
um,
Players Association and team owners meeting. That
pretty
one.
much that thing, the thing they have every once in a while, every few years. They're gonna have to crack down on this like holding out thing in the NBA
Mhm.
because there's no reason you should be able to hold out a whole season.
That's crazy.
Like, and the crazy part about it is, he
He
said
was getting paid
he held out until he got traded. He gets traded and
and still
still
holds out.
doesn't play. So next year there's gonna have to be a discussion, or not next year, but when they have this meeting, there's
Mhm.
gonna have to be a conversation about players and how they can hold out and things like that. There should probably be like a idea I've heard is play to pay. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
if you
If
don't
you don't play,
play
you don't get paid, which makes
exactly
sense. You're just
exactly
saving the team money,
Ex-
and
not even
you're,
that, because there's players who don't play, but that's by coach decision. But
yeah, that's
if
different.
you willingly don't play, then you should not get paid. Because that's like
Yeah,
me just not showing up to my job and still getting paid. That doesn't make sense
for
to me.
sure.
I don't want to talk about the Nets. Both the Nets and the Lakers are disappointments. The super team thing is done.
I mean,
Um,
in my opinion, the Lakers weren't even supposed to go that far in the first
yeah,
place.
the Lakers were
'Cause
set
that
up
whole
to
team is
fail.
just washed.
They're not set up to be
Yeah.
like that. But I think this season has established the super team thing doesn't work.
Hmm.
Like, people will argue the Warriors are a super team when they had KD. They are a super team. The difference is they drafted Steph Curry, they drafted Klay Thompson, they drafted Draymond Green. They traded for Iggy
They traded for
years
Iggy.
prior to that from
Yeah.
Philly, so he was already a part of the culture. If you can't build a championship team based off free agency,
Yeah.
you have to have a
You have to
foundation
have pieces.
and then bring in that guy. That's how I think free agencies should be used. The
Yeah.
free agency shouldn't be used as a means of building your whole roster. This whole having three good players and then everyone else on the roster is on a minimum deal thing isn't going to work. It doesn't work. There isn't a. I can't think of a team who's done that and won.
Hmm.
The Lakers did it this year, it didn't work. Um, the Nets did it this year, it didn't work.
That's all that I can think of.
That off the top of my head,
Every
I
Yeah. Every
even
team
when
has like a star or like two stars, and then everyone else is good.
right, and it's important to not rely on free agency because look at the Memphis Grizzlies. They're one of the best teams in the league, and all of their players are pretty much drafted. And it gives them so much flexibility because now next year, if they want to, they could go get a free agent because Ja is still on his rookie deal.
Hmm.
Desmond Bain is still on his rookie deal. Dylan Brooks, I think, is Dylan Brooks might have signed something, but I don't think he's on no huge deal. He might be on something small. But being a good drafting team just it gives you more versatility, and
Hmm.
that's something that a lot of these teams do not value. But let's move on to another series because we really harped on the Nets one.
Yeah.
2-7. So we're looking at 3-6 in the East. 3-6 in the East is Bucks Bulls. That just ended today,
That one just
4-1.
ended today.
The Bulls just
Bulls
they
just
they couldn't get it
injuries are.
done. Injuries,
That's
Caruso, Lonzo, they had some guys miss some big games. Giannis played really well. And game one,
Giannis just
honestly,
did Giannis
go ahead.
things. Okay, so what I've noticed was the Bulls or the team. What teams are going to try to do to stop Giannis is by drawing offensive charges.
Right.
That's like the only way because he's just too dominant, and
And
he's
another thing
the guy.
the Bulls were doing was they were doubling him. What's it called? On the ball. Like when he would post up, they would send an immediate double
Hmm.
team. And
Yeah,
Giannis's passing has just developed to a point where that doesn't work. You got to do
it
something
doesn't
else.
work anymore.
He's gonna find the open man.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, game one where the Bucks played really bad, and I watched that game. The Bucks did play really bad. That was the game the Bulls should have won, and they
Hmm.
didn't. They didn't get it done in a game where the Bucks played as bad as they possibly will, and they still couldn't get it done. And it's just like I think the win they have in this series is the first win the Bulls have against the Bucks in like the last few years where Giannis actually played.
Hmm.
They're like 1-15 or something. But
Wow.
Just wasn't a good matchup for the Bulls. Sucks that Lonzo couldn't play in the playoffs. I like Lonzo.
I
Hoping to
like
see him
him.
play. But there's not much to say. The Bulls just didn't get it done. Giannis is going on to the second round. Chris Middleton should be back somewhere in the second round. But yeah, as far as that series, that's all I have to say, really. How about you?
Um, just the Bulls need work. They're just staying
Yeah,
healthy because
stay
it's an
healthy.
issue. It didn't help them at all, obviously.
And then Zach
And
Levine being in COVID protocols hurt them a lot too.
oh yeah, for sure.
That hurts.
The Bucks, Grayson Allen, he's gonna
He
be a
he,
step up.
he
He's low-key
showed
gonna be an
up.
X factor.
He
He's going to be an
showed
X
up.
factor in the playoffs.
He hit his
Pat
shots.
Connaughton, he'll be
They
good
they got depth. They definitely have depth.
for sure.
Um, yeah. So last series in the East is 4-5. That's Raptors
Sixers, Nets.
Sixers.
Oh no, Sixers, Raptors. My fault.
Yeah. So the Sixers started off hot, went up 3-0.
Cooled
They've
down.
dropped the last two games though. It's 3-2. Um, James Harden's not playing well, and then Embiid thumb injury. So it's like
Mhm.
I'm just saying. I hope Doc Rivers is not the coach to choke a 3-0.
Yeah,
His resume of choking leads is so bad already. If he's the first coach to choke a 3-0 lead, wild, because he's fourth in coaching wins
mhm.
and he has one ring and he's choked countless leads. So it's
It's
just
it's gonna
it's
stain him like
yeah,
the worst this year too, because he has an MVP candidate in Embiid, and he traded for Harden
right.
later in the season, which is the Ben Simmons Harden trade.
Yeah,
That is their second star, but they should really be stepping up.
yeah.
Like
I
the
want to see the
Raptors
stats for the
need
play
to take
for the
advantage of.
series.
They needed to take advantage of no Scotty.
Hmm. Oh
They needed to take
yeah,
advantage while they can.
because no, Scotty's back now. He missed like one
He is.
game. Yeah, he missed
Oh,
like one game and then he came back. He's actually playing through the injury. I don't even think he missed a
oh,
game.
oh wow.
Um,
Mhm.
what's it called? I haven't really. I need to tune into the Sixers Raptor series because I was just like the
Yeah.
Sixers probably got this, but with the
Yeah.
injury and then James Harden, not really. James Harden ain't that guy in the playoffs. It's just always been like that. Um,
Oh, and Siakam stepping up in game 4,
he had
I
like a
think.
35 piece, I think.
Yeah, he had like 35.
He had a very
Crazy.
good game. Here we go, playoffs. Um, let's see.
It's a thumb ligament tear for Embiid.
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna require
that's bad.
surgery.
Yeah, that's bad.
Series stats for Sixers Raptors. I'm loading it right now, but Embiid's just gotta play better, really.
Thibel's not vaccinated. He's ineligible to play in Toronto.
Embiid's or not really Embiid. I can't blame this on Embiid. Harden needs to play better. 18 points per game, 9 assists on 40%. Oh, that's from three. He's shooting 37% from the field.
Mm.
And he also fouled out of a game, the game where Embiid hit the game winner.
Hmm.
So he's got to be a lot more reliable. He's averaging in the series, he's averaging 18, 9, 5. Tyrese Maxey has actually been the second best scorer, 20 points per game, 5 and 4. He had that really good game in game 1, but they
They're
just got to
not
get it
gonna
together.
have Thibault in game 6, I believe.
Yeah, because of COVID restrictions, right?
Yes.
The Canadian COVID restriction thing.
He's not vaccinated. Toronto, hobby.
Can't play out there. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's rough. But he's what's it called? Who'd you just say? Matisse Thybulle has been
Thybulle.
really bad this series. 33% from 3, but he's only taken 6, and they're just leaving him open.
Yeah,
He's averaging 3 points a game as a starter.
that's crazy.
So
He needs to do better as a starter.
he's just not playable, it seems like.
Hmm.
Because his defense is so good, but it's just like you can't really space the floor like that.
Well,
Yeah,
come game 6, they're gonna need Tyrese Maxey to step up.
definitely.
They
And
have
Harden
no one.
needs to play better.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
Embiid, the injury, I can't really be like, you need to play better, but like,
He's
come on.
basically done for the season
Yeah, it's just like
because it's a ligament tear. He can't do anything.
he can't play as good as he usually
Yeah.
does. But that's really it for the East. Realistically, we're probably gonna end up Sixers, Heat, and then Bucks, Celtics. Oh no, it's Bucks Celtics for sure because that side of the
Yeah, for
bracket
sure.
is
Yeah,
locked up.
that's gonna be such a good matchup.
That is gonna be a great series. But East is very interesting. Let's work our way out west because we have been recording for a bit now.
This one's gonna be great.
Uh,
Suns Pelicans. Jose Alvarado,
yes,
goat. He
Suns
finally got Chris
Pelicans.
Paul lacking.
Yeah. I watched the game last night.
Mhm.
Call Bridges was so good last night.
Damn.
Defense on Brandon Ingram was actually insane. I don't think Brandon Ingram hit a shot on look
McCall.
I don't think he scored where McCall Bridges was like the primary defender on the play.
It's that Villanova blood. I swear.
Yeah, the Villanova beat because Dante DiVincenzo went to Villanova. Villanova got some guys.
For sure.
Just the Suns are a really solid team. I don't think anyone expected the Pelicans to win the series. Um, they put up a fight though. Like you can't deny they put up a fight for an 8 seed, and then with
As
Devin
we
Booker
speak right
out,
now, Nuggets are currently up 46-45, minute 49 left in the second quarter.
all right, you feeling confident or not?
Mixed emotions, hoping for
know.
the best, obviously.
The Warriors in the third quarter are nasty.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
That death lineup,
it's
no, you don't want
wild.
to mess with it.
Yeah. What's it called though?
I just don't want to see another pool party.
Yeah,
Oh,
no. Jordan Poole has been so good. But what's it called? Suns Pelicans. We ain't really expect much. Suns should win it. Pelicans put up a good fight, and I think Devin Booker is supposed to
He
play
should be back game 6.
game 6. So it's like
Yes.
even if he only plays like 80% of what Devin Booker is, it should be wraps.
Even if he comes off the bench like a Steph Curry type
Like
role
a step, yeah.
during the playoffs, yeah, Suns
They should
should
be
be
solid.
fine, hypothetically.
Uh,
But yeah,
hey,
you wanna move on to
Brandon
the next
Ingram
one?
don't put up a stinker like he was in the first half of game 3 or game 5. They could. But Chris Paul is just so good. Like the way
Mhm.
he sees the court is almost unguardable. It's wild.
You good at that matchup?
Yeah, this is probably
skip-
the least interesting playoff matchup
Let's
out of all
skip
of them.
to the Mavs Jazz.
All
I
right,
want to save the Timberwolves
for last,
for last.
for last, because I have some things to
Yeah.
say about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Mavs Jazz. Oh my God, the Utah Jazz are so bad.
They're so sorry.
They're so sorry. Like I don't understand how you go against a team like the Mavericks where they play through their star like hard, and you still lose to them without their best player.
It's
Embarrassing. It honestly is embarrassing. Donovan Mitchell has not been playing very well this series, and just the Jazz in general is just like they're always losing in the worst ways possible. Like last year, Terrence Mann dropped 50 on him, like in the playoffs.
against your depoy. Against your
Yes,
depoy.
your depoy, and it's just like
It's
they lost to the Clippers last
crazy.
year without Paul or without Kawhi. I think for some of those games.
Yeah, it was without Kawhi. Because I think he tore his ACL.
He tore his ACL that in that series or the series like late in the series before. I don't remember.
Mhm.
But for most of that series, I don't think he was there. But what's it called? The Jazz just need to blow it up. Honestly, Quinn Snyder, their coach, the defensive strategy they have of just like guiding the ball handler to Rudy Gobert and then letting Rudy Gobert clean it up doesn't work when the other team goes small ball.
That's the way you beat their lineup.
Right.
Like, you force switches until Gobert picks up on the ball handler, and then that ball handler can shoot.
And not even that, Rudy Gobert paint sits really hard. Like I remember in game 3, I want to say, the game where I'm gonna find it right here, but in one of the games, the Mavericks were running a lineup with Maxi Kleba at the 5, and they were pretty much 5 out.
They're running small ball. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rudy Gobert is on the court, and he just like open 3 after open 3 because Rudy Gobert is sitting in the paint.
He's just sitting there, like it's a shooter. Like why aren't you guarding up on him?
And he can't leave the paint. That's the thing though, because if he leaves the paint, their perimeter defenders are going to get cooked.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell specifically, his defense has been terrible this series.
Yeah.
He needs to step it up. I'm just really over the Jazz. Like, it's embarrassing.
I'm happy for Luka.
I really am. I like Luka. I'm glad he's going to make it to the second round for the first time in his career. It's actually wild that the first time Luka is going to make the second round, he's not even going to have played in like the beginning of the series. Isn't like that's wild.
Like it's almost like the team didn't even need him.
Right. What's it called? They play tomorrow, I think.
Yes, pretty sure.
Yeah. Jazz at home. I
Yes,
guess the
April
Jazz could
28th.
win it, but as bad as they played yet last night, I think they played 77 to 102 on Monday. That's pretty embarrassing. Um, but yeah, I think the Mavericks got it
Yeah,
personally. I think that's all I really got to say about it. The Jazz have been pretty bad. And,
they just need to exploit that Gobert paint sit defense.
right, the defense is so easy to exploit. It's really
Yeah,
bad.
like
Um,
it's that's all I gotta say.
yeah, last or not last series, but we got your boys, the Nuggets and the
Nuggets and
Warriors.
Warriors down
Uh,
3-1.
Currently
Just deep
tied
back.
48-48, 18 seconds left at half. How are you feeling? I mean, like, from my
It's
perspective, I'm not a Nuggets fan, but I'm just
mhm,
like, it's not a y'all being down like this ain't that bad to me. It's like y'all
yeah,
don't have your
it's nothing new.
best guys. You're missing your two best guys. So it's
Yeah,
like you're 2 and 3, not your two best
yeah.
guys because Jokic is your best guy, but it's just rough. It really is just rough. A bad matchup type thing.
I mean, Will Barton. I think it was in game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was game 3. Yeah, it was game 3. Bro, he pulled a shot from the logo for no reason.
Nah.
Like, I wish I could make this up. He just pulled.
And then didn't Will Barton and DeMarcus Cousins start arguing on the
Yes,
sideline?
yes, bro. Like, I
uh,
don't even know how to explain this.
the PTSD lineup is real. They were genuinely giving you guys PTSD mid game.
Yeah,
Jokic just played solid. He's done his thing. Can't
we
put the
can't
loss on
stop
him.
that lineup.
But it's just y'all don't have the perimeter guys to guard. I don't think anyone really has the guys to guard that team like
The
that.
most that I can think of is just the Celtics, but
The
they're in the
Celtics
East.
and the Celtics in the East, they Heat. So like in the
And they're in the
finals,
East.
that'd be a good matchup. But like out west,
That's out west. Nobody can guard that, in my
nah.
opinion, at least.
Mm-mm.
The only hope for stopping that is if their shots aren't falling, and which is
Right.
what happened in Game 4.
The shots weren't
4 of
falling.
those shots weren't falling, which is why the Nuggets won.
Right.
If they aren't falling, then they lose, which is a risky,
Strategy. Like,
risky strategy.
but
But
it's
it's
just
how
like
Steve Kerr is.
it's the
That's how
Warriors.
Golden
It's
State
like
is.
they move
They're
the ball, they
shooters.
get their threes, and eventually the most 9 nights out of 10 nights, their shots are gonna fall. But if you get that one night, it could really do something for you.
For sure.
Um,
Our leading scorer right now is Aaron Gordon with 15, shooting 5 for 8.
hey,
Curry's shooting 4 for 11 though. Jokic has 13 boards through half.
yeah, he had like
Crazy.
9 at the end of the first quarter
Yeah,
though.
it's crazy. But the
Um,
downside is he has 5 turnovers and 5 assists. I haven't watched the game because, we're obviously recording,
yeah,
but I'm curious as to how he got the turnovers.
yeah, because the context of turnovers does really
It
matter.
really does.
Um, I doubt he has
Draymond,
like what's it called? I doubt he has bad pass type turnovers. I
Yeah,
like it's probably like good
it might have
Draymond
been like a
Green
Draymond
defense.
rip. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like Draymond Green defense or something.
yeah. Like as much
Uh,
as I hate to say it, Draymond on Jokic is not ideal.
it's not. Draymond Green, for being as small as he is, he can do
He is
his little
such a
thing.
good defender,
Such a great defender. One of the best defenders of our generation, at least.
for sure.
Definitely is. Is that all you really got on your Nuggets
Mm,
until the end of tonight? Really?
Pretty much to win the game, Jokic has to go crazy.
It really. That's what it has to be. Jokic
That's
has to
what
do what
has
he.
to happen. He
Jokic
has to
has
go.
to do what he's got to do, bro. Like it sucks that it's got to be that way because I feel like if the Nuggets had MPJ and Jamal Murray, y'all are like a top 3 seed
Or
to
even
me.
just one of them.
Yeah, really, just one of them. MPJ on his own would have did
Yeah,
some things for y'all. Y'all would be like a top 3 seed to me.
yeah,
Um,
for sure. Or at least
but
like in a better situation than we are right now.
yeah, exactly. Um, but it just sucks that it played out that way. Injuries are a part of the game, though. I think
Mhm.
as a Nuggets fan, even if you guys go out like this, would you call the season a failure? Because I don't think it would be a failure.
It's not a failure.
It's just,
MPJ got injured very early in the season.
and then Jamal didn't
And
play all
Jamal,
year.
he was just out.
Yeah, so it's
Two,
like,
that's our 2 and 3. You can
right,
interchange them for who's
yeah,
what, but they're out for the season. It's just Jokic. The only
right.
thing that I do fear, though, however, is if Jokic wants out.
I don't think he will.
Because
Jokic don't. Not to be like stereotypical, but I feel like a lot of the European players they be loyal as hell. like, they do not want to leave their teams. Like I don't see Luka as the
yeah,
kind of guy who wants to leave the Mavericks. Dirk
yeah,
played 20 years with the Mavericks. He's a foreign guy. Like Giannis wants to stay. Like they just seem like really hard nosed,
loyal.
loyal, work for it kind of guys. I don't think
Mhm.
Jokic gonna want out. He seems to
Mhm.
like Denver too.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think this year would be the year that he's like, I want out. Because
Yeah.
last year, y'all, where were y'all last year? Last year in the playoffs,
We were not in the conference final. That was the bubble.
second round,
Second round.
second
Second round
round team.
exits.
Year
Yeah.
before that, y'all were in the
For this year.
conference finals though.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, y'all have been good. Y'all have been good. Y'all have built a good enough team around him. Y'all are gonna get your guys back. Y'all should be
My
solid next
worry
year.
though, however, for the future,
Hmm.
landing on draft picks or going crazy in free agency. We don't have the money for it in free agency though, however, because we just paid Jamal. Well, we didn't
Hmm.
just pay him, but he's getting a bag.
Yeah,
MPJ is getting
MPJ
a bag.
got that nasty
He got
extension.
yeah. And then Jokic, I'm sure he's due.
What is that MPJ contract? I think he's on like MPJ is getting 5 year 172, I think, or something
It's
wild.
something
Five.
crazy.
Nah, I don't think that's it. Yeah, 5 years, 172 million. Average salary 34 million.
That's
He's
crazy.
good and all, but for him to have the back thing the year he signs it, that's rough. That's
Mhm.
very rough. Um,
That's pretty much all that I got to say about the Nuggets.
yeah, it's
We
been a
have
successful
Jokic
season for
has to
y'all.
go crazy.
It's been a successful season for y'all though, and
Yeah,
all in all, like y'all did what y'all had to do.
just sucks.
Um,
Gonna get eliminated.
yeah.
Hopefully not. Yeah,
Realistically though,
that's
I don't think this Warriors about to
yeah.
choke a 3-1 lead though. Not
Yeah.
especially if it's not against LeBron in the finals. They don't do that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure. Not like it's happened before or anything.
yeah.
No.
Last series,
The most entertaining one,
oh yeah, by far. Like
T-Wolves Grizzlies.
at least in the West, it's been the most entertaining
Oh
one. You
yeah,
can argue it's been the most entertaining one in general.
yeah.
But yeah,
I love the T-Wolves.
Grizzlies, Timberwolves cannot hold on to a lead. Like,
They
how do
can't.
you choke so
They
many leads?
they fold so much in the late. Like I
And
don't know.
I think a
I
guy
hate
who
it.
can really be who needs to be held accountable is Carl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
His body language, and I messaged you about this.
yeah.
His body language is so bad. And one thing I like about League Pass, if you for people who are watching who don't have League Pass, uh, for certain games, the angle you get, it's like you get to see the player's
You can
expression
you can
more.
lock on to a certain person.
Yeah, a certain
Not a certain
person,
one, but
or
like
even
home player or away
yeah,
player.
and
Say from home.
even
It'd be
outside of that, you get that angle that's like more like forward, and you're seeing the court as if you were on the court almost pretty much. And you get to see some of the players' body language and expressions and things like that. And you also get to hear what the players are saying. Carl Anthony Towns, in specifically the last game, his body language was really bad. Like, there are possessions where him and D'Angelo Russell, and they're friends. Like, off the court, they're
yeah.
really good friends. Um, the body language just wasn't there. Like, they were not arguing, but they were like Cat's like calling for the ball almost, or he wants a certain play ran or something. I don't know the logistics of it, but like they just weren't on the same page. And then whenever Cat fouls, it's always someone else's fault. It's
Yeah.
never his own fault for
Like
fouling.
like every time he fouls, he's complaining to the
Like,
ref.
ref, I didn't do anything, but it was him. It was him. He
He
fouled.
has
Like,
so many offensive fouls too, though. That's the thing.
he
Like,
does. The kicking out his leg on the 3-pointer
yeah.
thing was dumb.
And then like when he does that little like Euro
And then
thing,
he charges because he has no like
yeah.
awareness of like how to maneuver around contact.
Like he doesn't even maneuver around it. He goes like into it almost.
Right. He like intentionally goes into he has to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
There's no way he doesn't do it on purpose.
There's no way you're that immobile.
Or like not even immobile, like just I don't know the word, but like uncoordinated.
Yeah, that's
Like
the word.
like oh Anthony Edwards hit that tough shot last night.
He's crazy.
Tough
But
shot
Josh
last
hit a
night.
better shot.
Ja has been hooping this series. Other than like one game where I think he didn't play that well, it's one of the losses he didn't play that well in.
I mean, it was that game. He didn't score that much, but he had a bunch of assists.
Yeah, he didn't score the ball, but other than
Yeah.
that, he's been really solid. The leap Ja has taken has been insane. He definitely is deserving of the most improved player award.
That poster though.
On Malik
Oh my
Beasley. Malik Beasley got baptized. Malik Beasley got baptized. I remember watching it. I was sitting, I was on my phone, and then I look up and I see Ja like going over Malik Beasley, and I just see bro end up on the floor, and I'm like, geez, because when you watch on League Pass, you don't get the commentary. So I was like, oh,
Yeah.
did they call a charge on that? There's no way he just did him
Yeah.
like that. No, he did him like that. D'Angelo Russell has been solid. Pat Bev has
Look,
been making some plays.
Pat Bev has been chirping, but that experienced veteran chirping, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I think
Like,
Pat Bev being in Minnesota helps build a culture.
it helped them take a leap, a
Right.
major leap.
So credit to
Because
him.
he
Credit to him.
gives the team fouls,
Mhm.
like in a good way, not fouling the other team, but giving your team fouls. Does that make sense?
Right. He also
Like
he's just a good
he gets in
leader.
people's heads.
He is. He's a good
He does
leader.
that well.
And his body language, I wouldn't say Pat Bev has bad body language, like in the way that Cat does. Like Cat is very complain to the ref. Pat
Yeah.
Bev complains to the ref in a different way, in like a way where he's trying to achieve something.
Yeah.
Like Pat Bev talks to the ref as if he's trying to get a call reversed. Cat talks to the ref like,
That wasn't my fault.
that's not my fault. Oh
Yeah.
shoot, that's not my fault.
Call it back or something.
Call it back exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly how he is. But Pat Bev has been doing his thing. On the Grizzlies side, Ja Morant's him. Like,
He's crazy. Jaren Jackson stepped up.
yeah, he had a game where he had 5 blocks, I think,
Yeah. From being like from being injured
all
to
the
now
time.
that guy, like not that guy, but
A
Ja's second
very
line.
solid complementary piece to that Grizzlies roster.
Extremely.
Dylan Brooks has been
Dylan
solid.
Brooks is good.
Desmond Bain. They got
Mhm.
guys. That team is so
The
deep.
whole roster is so good.
Is Kyle Anderson still on the Grizzlies? Kyle Anderson. I think he is. I think I saw him get some play time.
Pretty sure. Yes, he is.
Kyle Anderson, he's solid too. Slow mo, that's his nickname. But yeah, it's just like if the Timberwolves got to just hold on to their leads. I think they play tomorrow as well.
They need to finish games.
They need to
They
finish games,
cannot
and Cat
finish them.
needs to stop doing things to like. He just needs to stop saying things. Like silencing the crowd last game
Yeah.
didn't age well. It got memed. The "we in Toronto now" thing didn't age well. Like just stop talking, bro. Just finish the game,
Like
please.
I don't know. It's the same issue for KD though, because KD instantly turns to social media after a loss
Yeah.
or a win.
He like just don't I don't like I like it a little bit. I like the trash talk.
It's
And,
cool,
like,
but just
There
at
was a
least follow-
play. There was a play I was telling you about. 2 players got a technical in the Grizzlies Timberwolves
Yeah.
game for just talking trash to each other, which I didn't get. I like the trash talk, but keep it on the court.
Yeah.
That's for me. Keep it on the court. And a lot of their guys have been like turning to Twitter. I don't know who it is, but there's a certain player on one of these teams that there's like a stat that he has more tweets than
Oh my god.
field goals made or
Oh my
something crazy.
god. That's
I don't know
crazy.
who it is. I don't know if it still stands because of the last game, but
Yeah.
last time I checked, he had more tweets than field goal attempts made.
Well, speaking of those random stats, at one point KD had like more turnovers than field goals made.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
KD averaged 5 turnovers a game in that series, and I feel
Mhm.
like if like someone like Russell Westbrook were to average 5 turnovers a game
He's
in
getting
the
so
playoffs,
much.
he's
slander.
getting crucified.
He was
but
getting
that-
crucified during the regular season.
He was getting crucified the whole year, but
Yeah.
the playoffs? Oh hell no, that's not happening. What's it called though? Yeah, Grizzlies Timberwolves has been a really good series. That's probably been my favorite one to watch.
For sure.
Um,
Who are your favorites for that?
say that again
Who are your favorites for that?
for the Grizzlies Timberwolves. Like
For
who
the
I got
Grizzlies
winning?
Timberwolves? Yeah.
I think I got the Grizzlies. I just think they're gonna pull it out because
Okay.
Timberwolves just don't seem to be able to
Can't-
close out a game.
Finished it. Yeah.
Right. Like at some point your spirit's got to be broken after choking 2 huge leads. It's been like
Yeah.
3 huge leads actually. So
Mhm.
like at some point you got to be a little hurt. I think Pat Bev will do a good job of keeping them on track, but like
I think. Yeah.
it's at some point it's just like
I have T Wolves forcing a game 7.
you think they're gonna win the next game. They're at
Yeah.
home. They're at home, so that's possible.
But Jaw will finish it out.
I think Ja will finish it out. In either way, it's either Grizzlies in 6 or 7 to me. I
Yeah.
don't think the Timberwolves win the series. So, yeah, I think that's everything. I don't think I have. We talked about everywhere in the NBA,
NFL draft.
the NFL
Which
draft
is tomorrow.
tomorrow. So I'm gonna be watching that along with, of course, the playoff games.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's games, we got Sixers Raptors. I pray that the Sixers win because I swear if Doc Rivers coaches a third,
Oh,
chokes a 3-0, that's going to be wild.
it's
Uh,
gonna be so rough.
Suns Pelicans, don't know if Devin Booker's playing for sure, but like realistically, I think either way the Suns got that. And
He's
then
gonna get that
Mavericks,
60 minute.
yeah, Mavericks Jazz, Mavs up 3-2. All of these teams are up three. The leads are 3-2.
Mhm.
Mavericks win, they close out the series, and then Utah gotta figure it out to find a way to win the series. Pretty much.
Next year, they just have to blow it up, in my opinion.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like this team has been so
Like, it's
consistently good in the
not-
regular season, but in the playoffs they're just never good enough.
Or like trade pieces for something else, because
Right.
I'm sure like someone else would value Gobert. Just
It's the contract though. The contract is
just
so bad.
oh, he's getting paid a lot.
He's one of the highest paid players in the league, I think.
Oh,
I'm gonna search it up. Highest paid players in the NBA. I think he's top 10.
Gobert's contract 5 year, 12.5 million.
5 year, yeah, he's getting paid 40 mil a year essentially.
Highest paid center in the NBA history.
Rudy Gobert, like that's a wild to me how Rudy Gobert is the highest paid center in NBA history, and he's good. He's really good at defense. This is not to discredit Rudy Gobert as a defender, but it's just like you paid a guy who can really not do much offensively. And the whole Rudy Gobert doesn't get the ball thing is true, but in this
He
series,
doesn't do anything with the ball.
there's been plays where they try and give Rudy Gobert the ball and he just like fumbles
He
it.
doesn't do anything with it.
He's missed a few lobs. He gets the ball in the post on like a smaller guy and he just doesn't do anything with it. It's just like, yeah, let's see. Highest paid player in the league. I'm trying to find Rudy Gobert. Like where he is on this list. This list has to be old because Rudy Gobert is paid higher than some of these guys. I'm at 30 and I haven't seen him. He's getting. Here we go.
He's the highest paid center.
In
That's
the
what I know
league?
for sure. Yeah, in the league.
Player salaries. I might not be. Rudy Gobert is the 16th highest paid player in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's paid higher than a lot of dudes.
He's even
He's
paid
he's
more
paid
than-
higher than Jokic. So put that into perspective. And Embiid. Well, I mean, I know you said he's the highest paid center in the league, but
Mhm.
just those two guys, when you really think about it, is crazy. Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, uh, Jamal, Gordon Hayward, Chris Paul.
I mean, it makes sense for him to get paid more than Jamal.
Yeah,
because
no, definitely.
He's a
But
deep
like,
boy. But Jason Tatum,
this is wild.
Bam Adebayo.
Right. It's just wild. It's really wild to me. Yeah. Oh
That's
wow,
all I
John
got.
Wall is third highest paid player in the league. That contract is awful.
Still,
Yeah,
Oh my
still. I think
gosh.
this year is the year he expires because him and Russell Westbrook's contracts line up like perfectly. They both are on 1 year deals, but they both have
Mhm.
player options, so they're probably both gonna accept it.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
That's all
episode
I
one. I
got.
think that's episode
Yeah.
one. This is a nice start. Only took us 2 takes. Um,
First,
but
we had some technical issues, but that's all
yeah,
good.
I unplugged my whole computer, and yeah, we had to re-record. But yeah, I'm excited to see where the podcast goes past this. I think this is a good starting point. Um, yeah, I'm just excited to see where we could take this, and I know this is
Next
probably gonna
episode-
turn. How long you think this is? Like, we're close to like 2 hours.
We're about 2 hours.
Yeah, if you even
hour
made it to this part,
ish.
then credit to you, bro, because this has
Thank
been
you.
a long time of us just talking. Yeah, but liking the video, the podcast, subscribing, those are all
Subscribing.
valuable.
Checking
Even
out the link tree, following
the
all
link
the other
tree,
socials.
and then also give feedback on how the podcast, how you think we can make it more entertaining.
Give us ideas, hot takes.
Hot takes,
Things
things
that
you
you'd
want
like
us to
to
talk
talk about.
about. Definitely. But I think that concludes the inaugural episode of the Poverty Franchise podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and we'll be back on Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a wrap.